Welcome, everyone. This is Pineleaf Needles, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we will take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. And our latest news is that this is our 100th episode. And at this
Woo!
special episode, we
Hooray!
have with us Andang,
Hey, everybody.
Terry Adwin,
Hi, hi!
Maven,
Hi, y'all.
Erithert,
Hello.
Carvette,
At your service and your families.
Lily Kate,
Hello!
and returning us for this episode, Atheros.
Yeah.
That was perfect. All right. Very thorough.
Sithris,
Hello, everyone.
Draculetta,
Greetings, everyone.
and Braxwolf.
Hello, Lotro.
And also, we will be starting with two guests. There will be more joining us later. Welcome Corey Olson, the Tolkien professor,
Good evening.
and Brannick.
Hi, it's me.
Hey, Brannick. Wow, that was a lot of voices.
Very well, let us see if we could keep up with everyone as we go along. So we'll begin this show by having a little talk with our past co-hosts who are returning. So Sithris, what have you been up to since you left the show?
Well, together with Drac and Atharos, we've been putting along with Guild Wars Players and Guild Wars Players news, and that's mostly it. Mostly a lot of Guild Wars 2. Lots of Guild Wars 2.
Lots of Guild Wars 2.
Lots of necromanting and PvPing.
Yes, a surprising amount of PvP and necromancers based on our attitudes when we started the show.
Still waiting on cat players.
It's gonna happen one day. One day.
We'll see. We'll see. Brax, what have you been up to?
Oh boy. Well, as far as gaming is concerned, been playing a lot of Marvel heroes. I've been bit by the Marvel bug. I'm watching all the hero movies that are coming out, and found a game that my kids and I can play together pretty easily, even the youngest ones. Been playing a little bit of Skyrim, and every once in a while we'll pop into Lotro and see what's going on. I started the new epic for update 16 today, and I could tell it was the epic because I was doing all kinds of things for the Rangers. But I did want to take a real quick, brief moment here and let everybody know that this is going to be my last episode of LOTRO Players News as a regular co-host. I know we've been on break for a few episodes and started on episode 8, so it had been a very long run. And just wanted to take that opportunity to say that. I wanted to not monopolize the show because it's such a big party, but I did want to, because it was the biggest community party we've had, kind of take that opportunity and say this is kind of the way to go out with a bang with this, celebration of the 100th episode. And so wanted to also thank Andang for the opportunity to be on the show. It's been such a great time. It's been amazing. He showed a lot of faith in me, somebody who'd never done a podcast before, in inviting me on the first time and then asking me to stay on. Wanted to thank the community for how amazing it's been, because it is like the best MMO community I've ever found. And I think it proves time and time again. I really felt that way before. Last year's Extra Life made me feel even more that way. And I think it's been amazing. So thank you, everyone. And let's have a great show.
Yeah, it's sad to see you go, Brax, but you got other things to do, and you're involved in other projects of mine, so it's not saying goodbye too far. Where can people find you if they want to keep listening to the Brax Wolf voice?
Right. Yeah. Well, great lead in. As far as the voice is concerned, I do have my own podcast called Beyond Boss Fights, and you can find that on my blog at braxwolf.com or in iTunes if you'd like to. I do an interview of people in the gaming community once a month. And I think the other thing, if you just really want to hear a soothing, sexy voice doing Tolkien voiceover, the secret project that has now been revealed, I'm going to be doing the narration for that. So if you want to know about Tolkien and you want to hear my voice, it's going to be on Andang's YouTube channel pretty soon.
Yep. Awesome.
All right then. Draculetta, what have you been up to?
Well, besides Guild Wars Players, I am also the lead director over at DDO Players, where we cover all things Dungeons & Dragons Online, which is a Turbine game as well, if you did not know that. And also
I've heard of it.
the Dungeons & Dragons tabletop as well. So been busy with that, playing a lot of DDO and a lot of Guild Wars. And podcasting, not quite as often as I used to now, but I'm still on, 4? So
Not quite as often. It's only
I went
4.
from 5 to 4, so, hey, it's a start.
Yeah.
Progress. It's progress.
I'm trying to think what the fourth one is.
Academy.
Well, what I meant is,
I think
since
you're only
you're
on
not on
3,
this one,
Drac.
but you're on.
Oh, yeah, I
DDO.
guess I'm on 3. That's right. Hey, I really did cut down. I'm only on 3. Wow.
All right, Etheros, what have you been doing since you've left?
Mostly what Sivir said. Guild Wars Players has taken up most of my time. Probably the most prominent thing about that being I was a pretty big opposer of Necros, Asura, and PvP, and currently I am doing all 3 at once. So,
You're playing as an Asura Necro in PvP zones?
yes, some people here can clarify that as well.
Which I just would like to point out. I realize this is not Guild Wars Players news, but just let me point out, I was the only one that stood up for the Necros and the Asuras from the very beginning of the show. The
Yes,
others
this is true, Drac.
on my coattails.
And I was right there with you, Drac, on the first episode when I guessed it. I was all promoting that, and then, they just pushed us away.
Still think the pets are ugly as heck. Oh.
They are.
Yes, the pets are very disturbing.
And real quick, can I just point out that there's an evil Pine Leaf and a Felicia Day in the chat room right now?
Yeah. Aside
With a
from
goatee and dark
that,
eyebrows and a black hat. Walks around going,
And a monocle and a cat, right?
there you go, yeah.
Aside from that, I've kind of just been alternating between Guild Wars and Dark Souls, so a lot of masochism there.
All right, very well. Let us start with our guest. Our first guest tonight is the Tolkien professor.
Good evening. Hey.
And what have you been up to since you were last with us?
Oh, all kinds of things. The the biggest and most immediately relevant is that in the last 3 weeks here, I have started my official LOTRO stream. I have begun to experiment with this whole thing called streaming. It's really challenging to my ability to multitask. I'm actually impressed that I've spent as little time as I have, like running into trees and walls and things in the game while I'm trying to look something up in a book or or even just think and talk at the same time. I have also not yet managed to die on screen live, which I rather expected to do a couple times. But anyway, no, that's been a lot of fun. We've had a really good initial response to the this sort of lore commentary based LOTRO stream that I've been doing, and that's been that's been a lot of fun. So that's definitely been the biggest thing that has lately come about, certainly with me in the LOTRO world. I said back when we first founded the Mythgard Kinship and started doing our Mythgard Mondays and stuff, I always said that there was we were sort of planning 3 different phases of sort of Mythgard involvement, and this is phase 2 that we just started, and I'm really excited. I think it's been neat to connect with people who didn't know anything about it. Actually, one of the really fun things, I think it was the first time it had happened to me in a really long time, was the first time I did the LOTRO stream. There were a whole bunch of people listening who didn't know who I was at all. They just they were just tuning in because it was LOTRO stream, right? And they were like, hey, who's this guy? And that was really refreshing. It was really fun. It was nice. I've always been extremely grateful to the faithful listeners who have been following my podcast for a really long time. but so it's really cool to sort of watch people just like to connect with new people. It's been a lot of fun. So I've been really excited about the Lotro stream thing, and of course I mostly here just really wanted to say congratulations to you guys. It's really exciting having your 100th episode. That's there are a lot of podcasts that start up and fizzle out. And I think seeing the team, not only the team that I've been working with, here in the guest episodes that I've done over the last few months, but getting to meet and hear from all of your former team members and sort of seeing how the continuity of this thing, over the time you've been doing it, is really impressive. This is a great accomplishment for you guys. So congratulations.
Thank you. It's awesome.
All right, and
Hey.
thank you for pairing with us.
Oh, I have one other thing I wanted to get Corey to share if he's willing to.
Sure.
Tell him what you're going to be doing next week.
Oh, yes. Well, next week, we're starting another new thing next week.
Oh,
which
no,
is
I meant the thing in Charlotte, but yeah, the thing.
Oh,
the thing
that's right.
next
The thing in
week.
Charlotte.
Two
Charlotte.
new
Oh, the other
things.
new thing.
Two things, yes.
Two new things next week. Well, yeah, okay. So, yeah, that's right. Yeah, actually, you guys would like to hear about this. So next week, I'm going down to Charlotte to speak at a conference. This is a purely academic conference. I'll be speaking to an audience entirely of university faculty and administrators about LOTRO. Actually, I was invited to come down and speak about they heard about the LOTRO course that I'm planning, and the different kind of well, at least it seems incredibly innovative to stodgy academics, the kind of thing that we're doing in LOTRO. I mean, to you guys, it's like, old hat. I mean, what, Andang's formerly secret project is way more innovative and cool than the relatively low key stuff that I'm doing. But again, from like the
Nonsense.
standard of the Ivory Tower, it seems all cutting edge. So yeah, so they invited me to come down and talk about teaching in that kind of a virtual world environment, and so Mythgard at LOTRO. I'll be giving a lecture to a bunch of academics about LOTRO next week.
Cool. All right.
Cool, huh?
And what about your other project?
Oh yeah, my other project is the Silmarillion film project, which is finally beginning next Friday. So. I'm very excited about that. We're going to begin our process, our projected very long project of planning a Silmarillion film adaptation. We're not, of course, actually making a film. We don't have the rights to do that. But we're just talking. We're going to plan a theoretical adaptation of the Silmarillion, and the goal is to go through and really immerse ourselves in the text and think through all the kinds of choices you would have to make in order to do a visual adaptation of the Silmarillion, and the kind of imaginative investment with the text that's going to bring. I think is going to be something that's going to be really exciting. And my secret hope here, of course, is that I really want to help more people to really get into the Silmarillion in that way. There are a lot of people who have a hard time reading the Silmarillion and just getting through it at all, and even people who do. It's just, for many, not for all I know, but for many, it's just hard to for the Silmarillion really to come to life in the same way that The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings comes to life for so many. So this project is going to be an extended project wherein what that kind of bringing to life is what we're really hoping for. So I'm very much looking forward to that.
Right. And where can we go in order to hear this podcast?
That is going to be on the Tolkien. I'm going to be putting that on the Tolkien Professor podcast feed. So that will be on my ancient crotchety podcast feed now. So yeah, if so people who have been subscribing to the Tolkien Professor, they can get the episodes there. We're also putting together a new website, which is not quite done yet, but it hopefully will be done soon. And so we'll have a page, and we're hoping to have a lot of place for forums for people to discuss and kind of get involved in the discussions. So we'll have the web pages and the forums, and the episodes themselves will be released on the podcast feed.
And for next week, the live listener registration link is already being broadcast on our social media channels. So
That's right.
Facebook and Twitter and whatnot, where we have the URL people can use if they want to go live, listen to it live on Friday night. So
Yeah.
Well, what time on Friday nights?
9:30 p.m. Well, it's 9:30 p.m. Eastern. For this first episode, it's like a primetime special. You know, we're doing the first episode. Mostly, we're going to be going back to the time slot that we've been using for Riddles in the Dark for the last few years, which is alternate Fridays at 10 a.m. Eastern time. But for this first episode, we're going to do an evening time.
All right. You expect to be finished with an episode in time to start your stream?
Well,
that's
see,
the same question I asked him.
The
when
thing
he said
is that I mean, I know that everyone has come to rely upon the regularity, efficiency, and discipline with which has really been a hallmark of the Talking Professor podcast from the beginning. So I'm confident, yes, that will definitely be done in time for me to begin my stream. Absolutely. So yeah, I'm going to be pretty much on alternate Fridays. I'm going to be pretty much going straight from the Summer Rain Film Project right into LOTRO stream. So yep, that's the plan.
All right, then.
Well, on that note, I would totally plug that stream because there are streamers that are fun to interact with, and there are streamers that you can watch after the fact. And this stream by Corey Olson is both. I haven't been able to catch it live because I've been at lunch, but it's just as good afterwards as leftovers, so to speak.
Yes, I've been catching it on YouTube. So
it's really funny. You're funny, Corey.
It is funny.
I'm
extremely
glad.
entertaining.
It's
Yeah.
great, yeah.
I'm glad. I was mostly going for not pathetic, so I'm glad.
Well, you're way
It's
above
not
that.
pathetic and quite more. It is very entertaining to listen to you comment like, "Oh, sure, I'll be glad, brave hobbit that I am. I will go and kill those wolves for you."
You got to get into the
I
epic
just
quest
love
line.
this.
No, I'm
he's
getting into
now-
character here.
He's now got his fashionable backpack full of saltpeter.
That's right.
And then there's the
Right.
whole
Terry, I hope you didn't mind that I stuffed my fancy green backpack with salt. But
You are welcome to put whatever you want in the backpack. Just
Yeah.
don't expect me to go pawing through it.
right, yeah, no, it's fine. But I did put on my cake hat in celebration of killing
did.
the Great War. So
He did. He
I thought
did.
that was my first fitting occasion for the party dress.
And then, of course, there's the infamous, shh, quiet, we're sneaking.
The whole burglar thing, man. I'm still adapting. I'm still kind of a guardian at heart. I mean, the guardian is where I started. So, so just being like, hey, come over here and hit me is kind of what my natural instincts. And so the burgling thing, I have to try to get into it.
You picked
I
any
think that's the
pockets
reason
yet?
Why I run Mischief Line is because I still don't have the knack of being a burglar.
Yeah.
You picked any pockets yet?
I haven't. Yeah, I don't think I have that skill yet.
I have that same issue on basically every non-guardian character.
Yeah.
I play my warg like my guardian, and I get in trouble for it.
I play my lore master like my guardian, and I get in a lot of trouble for that.
I decided that my motto is face first.
Face first.
All right. Anything you wish to add before we go on?
No, that's all. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah,
All right. Thank you for joining us. Brannick, what have you been up to?
LOTRO related or otherwise?
Or not LOTRO related. This is your time to say whatever you've been up to.
I've been prototyping a new game.
Awesome.
If anybody remembers the game Zoop, it was a puzzle game from the mid-90s on Super Nintendo, Genesis, early PlayStation. I think it was on DOS. I'm basically programming a clone of that, and it's coming together very quickly.
Cool.
Cool.
All right.
That's
anything else?
That's mostly what I've been doing, at least the last few days. Playing a little bit of LOTRO, but I talked about that in the Academy episode we recorded yesterday. So,
If I remember right, your LOTRO is basically helping Terry.
Well,
and that's it.
Actually, not so much this week. I got to Dol Amroth, and
cool.
I'm basically, I think I'm pretty much done with the side quest stuff. I'm just gonna wait until I get Kindred and then move on to the rest of Gondor.
Awesome.
right then. And do we have any guests lined up yet?
Because we don't have enough people on the call.
Right.
All right, let's see if we can get a person from Italy besides the person from Italy we already have on the call.
Yes. They'll start talking in Italian.
Hi. Hi, everyone.
Hey.
Hello, Ali.
Hello, I'm back.
You're
Yeah, nice to have you
back.
back on.
Yeah, good to be here.
Very well, and what have you been up to since the last time you were here?
Well, I got into something that I never thought that I would really get into, which is crafting in game. So this has been interesting because I took up all the crafts and all the characters that I had, and I just started them from scratch, and it was really fun. So fun.
All right. And what tier are you at?
I maxed out like 4 of them so far, so
Oh,
I'm
good
on my
grief.
Well, I'm a team leader, so resources are not a problem.
All
Sounds
right.
like
Yes,
that
I'm
was
maxed out
crafting.
metalsmith, then the scholar, then the cook, and finally the tailor. So now I'm off to the jeweler.
Well, Scholar's one of the more difficult ones to max out. Congrats.
Yeah, but I was never into crafting, but I kept saving everything that I got over the years. So all the
Right.
things that you need for crafting, I just had them in different vaults.
You planned ahead. You made it a lot easier on yourself.
Exactly. When I finally went back, like all the hides, for example, from oh dear, something fell.
All right, real quick, an interruption because Corey has to leave because he's a busy person.
Oh, no.
So,
Well, understandable.
Oh, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt, but
no,
yes.
that's fine. Thank you so much, Corey, for coming on the show, and thank you for all your support of LOTRO players. It really does mean a lot.
No
So-
problem. Thanks for having me. Yeah, and I really appreciate all that you guys do, and I hope you have an awesome next 100 episodes.
At least
Exactly.
100.
All right, thank you.
Very good. Good night.
Bye, Corey.
Bye, Corey.
So long.
Bye.
Later.
All right. Okay, Ali, back to you.
Back
What
to
you're up
me.
to? You're saying crafting.
Yeah, crafting. So lots of crafting, and I was saying that I kept saving everything, all the hides and everything, so it was really easy to level them up. I just put them on making and just went AFK. So AFK crafting for the win.
Well, that's a little bit tougher when you're farming.
Yeah, exactly. You have to keep the another thing, a trick that I learned for farming, like the delete button and then the U button, which is really works. So the del button selects the object closest to you, and then the U button is use. So if you put the option on loot all, and then use, you can easily get all the crafting really fast with just pressing delete and U.
Except I've done that, except I didn't realize had finished, like I would plant 10 things and then I would do del U, del U, del U. And then if I didn't watch out, I'd start picking up my neighbor's crop.
And then it is permission denied.
Right.
Yes,
They're not allowed
yes,
to.
that's been known to happen. Either that or running
other
over
than-
to the workbench.
Right. I've run over to the workbench quite a bit too.
I've tried to find these special places where I can just keep my characters who are crafting and just keep them there. So like in a Steldin, I just keep the tailor there, so the tailor just stays there and crafts whenever I need something.
Awesome.
All right.
And real quick, Estel, you've actually also been helping with Middle Earth lore.
I am. And I saw like a sneak preview of the trailer. It was really awesome, and I cannot wait for it to go live so people can see what we are up to, Andang especially, because he says that he's not making much of the videos, but he's been working on this project really hard, getting all the people together. So it's really exciting and it's going to be fun.
Yeah, and you're actually a writer for the scripts. You're a script writer. and it's amazing how poetic, which is unsurprising because it's Estelle Lee, but it's amazing how poetic some of the stuff you write, and yet it's still in such a way that it's not like corny or anything like that. It's just awesome. And so I'm really excited because you came on script 3, so I'm really excited for people to hear the third script for the parts that you did because it's really cool.
Yes, really, it will be fun, and also I can't wait for you to do all the shooting and voiceover, and finding all the places, because I know that not all of the places that we will talk about are accessible in game, so you'd have to improvise a bit. So it's just going to be fun.
Especially as we move further into Dwarven and Elven stuff, but anyway.
Speaking of poetic,
Ooh, segue.
I was wondering, are there any new poems? For example, maybe the continuation of the Aragorn Arwen story coming up soon?
Yes, there is. I've been working on another part. I don't know which part are we on. 8th, 9th, 10th? Yeah, but I've been working on the next part, so like 2 of them at the same time. But with this other project that we started for Middle Earth lore series, it's getting a little difficult. But still, yeah, I'm still working. I have not forgotten Aragorn. I can never forget him.
All right, then. Anything else you wish to add?
Well, as someone who likes to create or sub-create on a semi-regular basis, I know how difficult it is and it can be to produce something each and every week, which is entertaining, and the listeners are able to appreciate it and listen to it without any getting bored. I really want to say that you guys do an awesome job of doing it each week for around 2 years, and it's really awesome. I want to say thank you for all the community. That it's a really awesome job that you guys do, and you show your hard work, talent, and it's really awesome. So thank you.
Awesome,
Right, and thank you for coming.
Favorite moment, real quick, Estali.
Well, God, there have been so many, but I'd say my favorite was the moment that started it all, the Pine Leaf poetry reading thing, and it became like a thing on its own. So each week when there will be something, some poem, and Pine Leaf will be asked to read, and his reaction each time is most amazing ever. So that has been really fun. Also I think couple of weeks ago, when we had John DiBartolo of Lonely Mountain Band, and when he was listening to the Aragorn poem, and he said, "Can you convert it into a song?" That was really awesome. I laughed out loud when he said that. And to answer him, of course he can. It's free.
Awesome.
And yeah, the most fun is just you guys having like so natural conversations, and it doesn't feel like a show. Feels like more like a conversation with different friends and just like a hanging out. And it's been which makes it a little unique kind of a show. So those have been my favorite moments.
Awesome.
All right, and thank you.
Have a great show, and I'll stick around here listening if you don't mind.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
All right, thanks for coming on. So
Thanks,
long,
Ellie.
and Ending. Who's next?
Well, I think next we're going to go into the game news, and then we'll add somebody else.
All right, very well. Then let's head into our game news. There isn't much game news this week. The Bulwer is up, but we will discuss more about 16.1 when the actual update comes out. So let's head into our store sales, and Draculetta, you will be giving us the day?
I guess I was chosen to. Terry Adwin wanted a week off, apparently. For example, of the week through June 4th is the Sturdy Steel Key, which is an amazing free sample. You use coupon code ZNM55, one of those per account. And I just want to make it known that I find it very ironic what the sale is this week.
Ooh.
It's
I'm
30...
trying to figure out what that code means.
Never try to figure the codes out, Pine Leaf. Never. Never. sale this
Well-
week. What? What, Pineleaf?
Well, I was just going to say every once in a while the codes do make sense.
Well, sometimes they do, but usually turbine logic and pine leaf logic don't mix.
But I like how Drac came on the show just to tell Pineleaf that he shouldn't make sense of the code so far.
I tell him that on DDO Players News all the time too. So
Yeah, it's great
it's
on there
okay.
too.
30% off this week. Legendary level cap increase, legendary item stat upgrades, and relics and relic packs. And just because I know everybody has missed it, I just have one thing to say. Meh.
Hey, for you, that's a resounding.
Oh, that was too much of a happy meh? I see. I'll have to work on that. Also, there is double bonus points through June 1st. So if you are planning on buying any TP, now is the time to get it because you get those double bonus points. And that runs through June 1st.
All right. Thank you. And now, Endang. Oh, yes, I see. We are next coming in, Eorgro.
That's one.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
Hey, Iogro.
How are you guys?
Doing good. How are you?
One of these days, Pineleaf's going to be able to pronounce my name correctly.
Well,
Pineleaf, I.
It took a while for me too. It's okay.
Oh, grow.
well, I am just.
Repeat after me, Pineleaf.
I'm just used to using Tolkienian pronunciations where the I's are using continental
E's.
I's instead of English I's. But all right. Iogro, what have you
Yay.
been up to lately?
Well, it's actually been a really busy couple of weeks. I'm actually in the process of writing a fantasy novel right now, so my time has actually been donated to writing these past couple of weeks. I've got a lot of the first book finished, and I've got some art that has been pulled in now. So I've got some sketches that are done. So that's been a lot of my time these past couple weeks. I've had some pretty decent game time though. I've got my Runekeeper up to level 85 and moving into Western Rohan. So and then I've also had a really nice chance to be a part of the Middle Earth lore. So I've had some good time to get in and see this new thing created and do a little script editing as well.
Ah.
Yeah. So I've got a lot of little side projects going right now. Been busy.
All right, quite busy. Anything else you need to add?
Well, so come September, I will actually be launching my own podcast. So
Ooh.
been busy on that as well. It's
Is that related to your novel?
well, it will be talking about writing. So it's based around the gaming community, but it will also have a fantasy and lore tale spin to it as well. So we'll get to talk about a little bit of the fantasy novel writing realm and what craziness it can make you feel like while you're writing stories.
All right.
Do you have a launch date for that, Iogro?
What's that, Brax?
Do you have a launch date for that?
It will be the first weekend in September.
Cool.
Awesome.
Keep
So
an eye out for that.
yeah, I'll be launching it on my website. That's out there at hobbitsjourney.com, as well as you'll see some links out to Twitter and YouTube as well.
All right, and thank you for coming. And anybody else have any questions for him?
Well, he actually gets to stay through the news, so there's plenty of time for that.
All right, then let's go into our site news then. And our first piece of news is that Andang has announced a 5,000 point giveaway. What is this all about?
Well, thanks to our patrons, Pineleaf, we actually were able to do a 5,000 turbine point code giveaway. And already there's 463 comments on it, which is just ridiculous. It might beat DDO, but you can't be sure. So everyone be sure to leave a comment on there so that we can beat DDO players and get more comments than they got on their giveaway just a couple weeks ago.
You're trying to break that record, huh?
Trying to break that record all the time, Pineleaf.
All the time. It's only the record's only been set for a couple weeks.
Yeah, but we broke it then, didn't we?
Shush, Pineleaf, shush. Shush, shush.
So anyway, this is just like normal giveaways. You just leave a comment below and get a chance to enter into the 5,000 TP giveaway.
All right, and looks like we've got 463 comments so far.
Plus 25 pending, but yeah.
Okay, so you want to start reading those comments off? That'll fill some airtime, right?
I think we already got our airtime covered tonight.
All right. Well then, let's then talk about our poll. Our weekly poll was, what part of the producer's letter are you most excited about?
That's right, Pineleaf. And the summer producer's letter did come out last week, I guess, and so we put up a poll to ask people what they thought. And the first response, with 45% of the vote, 99 votes, was Minas Tirith. No surprise.
No, not really.
Following up next was updated servers and merges with 19%. This kinda surprised me, but if you're not interested in the other stuff, it makes sense. Adventures of Bingo Boffin at 18%, which really surprised me that was so high, but you know, that's cool. The new PvP map at 14%, and the new store at 4%, which makes sense since we don't really know anything about the new store other than it's just being upgraded. So, there we go.
A couple of those really did
All
surprise
right.
me. I kind of thought that the episodic content would be a lot like a lot higher than that, considering it's something that we've never seen before. I honestly, I'm the most excited about all the stuff that's in the change notes so far for Bull Roar that are just like little itty bitty quality of life things. Like
Yeah.
you can use a whole stack of rep items now. That's exciting.
Yeah.
That's amazing to me. So I voted for the
Been a
PvP
long
map
time coming.
because but there's a lot of really exciting things coming in this update. I'm excited for.
All right. Very well. Now that was for the everybody's favorite moments in the producer's letter, but let's go back to our guest and ask him what his favorite moments have been in the last year for our show.
Oh goodness, that's a loaded question. There's been too many. So some good stuff. I would have to say one of the best times was back when we were doing the Extra Life Marathon, and DJ actually created the LOTRO RPG. That was by far a favorite moment of mine.
Yeah.
It was just moments and moments of laughing your head off and great fun. So good interaction, lots of time to spend with online friends as well. But on top of that, just the whole LOTRO series and what you guys have created, I think it's it's a fantastic community, and it's been fun getting in with you guys and meeting the people that we've had the chance and interacting with everybody.
All right then. Then let's then head on to LOTRO Academy 107. Talking about LOTRO. Brennan,
Yeah,
what you talk
that
about?
sounds familiar. I think
Yes.
I may have just recently finished editing that one and posting it.
All right. Anything interesting about this particular episode?
Well, it was an off-topic episode, but I guess the interesting thing was it was Terry Adwin's first episode as a regular host.
Yeah.
Yes.
So a lot of just kind of bantering and LOTRO discussion type of thing.
All right then. Then let's go into our LOTRO video highlights. Morning never came.
Yes, Pineleaf. This is my new favorite LOTRO video.
It's awesome.
Ooh.
It is amazing. The visuals in this video are beyond anything I've seen any other LOTRO machinimist do. It's absolutely amazing, and I recommend everybody check out this video and definitely give it a like, leave comments on their video, help it get as much traffic as it can because they released this video just earlier this week. And so they're actually a person who's still putting out Lotro videos, and they're at an extremely high quality. I really recommend everybody check this out, and also, subscribe to their YouTube channel, do all that, support them, because there are not very many Lotro machinists left in the community, and this one is a really good one.
Honestly, I was a little bit confused of who was the good guy at the beginning, and then later on, I was like, oh, okay, I think I got it now. And then I really wanted to play Runekeeper for a second because I thought that there might possibly be an ability where you turn into a dragon.
That's awesome.
Turns out it's not a
What?
thing.
No, yeah, I've played a Runekeeper. I've never been able to do that.
Yeah, too bad, huh?
I turned into a dragon once, but I bounced off his scaly leg and it hurt.
All right.
Yeah, I would say this is a really nicely done video. I mean, as somebody who's recently entered the realm of Lotro in ultra settings, that was immediately what I recognized with it. And on top of that, the way the video is spliced together, you almost forget that you're watching a machinima. I mean, the
Yeah.
way they've choreographed the fight scenes and the way they've clipped everything together and the way the different characters blend from movement to movement, you almost forget you're watching something that somebody painstakingly glued together from, canned character animations. It's really cool.
And some of the camera angles that they use in here would actually require you to do a camera angle and then run it through post-processing and then run that video through post-processing of another camera angle slapped on top of it in editing. And it's just some of these shots are so complex and it makes it look like it's not done in Lotro, and it's just amazing. It's really cool.
It made me go, I really wish I could do something like that.
Me too, when I'm doing a video series.
All right. Then let's go into the Spring Festival, where they are going to have some improvements to the 2015 Spring Festival when it arrives.
Yay!
You mean like actual
And what are these
rewards?
improvements?
Well, we have
Pretty
tunic,
horse.
we have tunic and trousers again, which we haven't had in a long time, so we don't have an ugly robe.
Yay!
And
Any dresses?
no dresses, unfortunately.
Ah, boo hiss.
Yeah, I would kill for a new dress. But that's okay because
That's
it's
a
tunic and trousers.
terrifying statement.
I know.
It is.
Well, what I would do for cosmetics in Lotro. We sort of had this
Careful.
discussion already. When we covered when we were doing Corey's makeover, we sort of kind of had that discussion. There's not a lot that I wouldn't do for good cosmetics in Lotro. And we also have a non-tablecloth horse.
Yes, that
This-
is
Yeah, the
great.
horse looks really nice, actually.
This is I think the first horse from a festival. Actually, this is the first time in probably a good year and a half I've looked at the rewards and said, ooh, I actually want to grind for that.
Yeah. I'm
Now,
not too
another nice-
because I've got tokens left over from last spring.
I'm stacking
another
up
nice
on
thing-
booze.
Now, another nice thing here is of interest to Lily Kate, I'm sure, and that's that they have a new stage out in the festival grounds.
It's brilliant. Yeah, it looks good. I'm withholding judgment on everything 16.1 and festival until it happens, and then I'll say my piece. I have to
Okay,
check these
I
things
guess-
out first. I do know that they put a bard near there or a hobbit that was playing a lute or something, an NPC, but they've moved him, so glad for that. But I'm hoping it'll get a lot of views.
All right, we will see what happens there. Anything else coming in the Spring Festival?
Isn't there a new travel
Oh,
route
wasn't
for
there
festival
something
grounds?
about the shrews you could swap? You should
Yeah, you
swap,
can
you could
barter
swap
for the
tokens
shrews.
for instead of doing a weird a weird
Which,
giveaway
yay,
prize for.
because trying to compete for a shrew on busy servers really sucks.
I could never kick that big one. I could never get it.
Yeah.
So
All right. Now,
So
I heard a rumor, Lily Kate, that you are going to trade in your shrew for an elephant.
well, I've got lots of plans. If I get a big shrew, there's gonna be some amazing stuff happening. There's a typing thing going on. Actually, I found it hard to hear myself. Yeah, but I'm not sure what. But I've got my eyes on getting a giant shrew. But then I have been since the start of when I spent the entire festival not getting a giant shrew and being very sad about it.
All right. Well, the next one is Lily Kate's ultimate creature.
You were segueing into my other post, weren't you? And I didn't get that. I'm sorry, Pine. It's very late, and I'm a bit dim.
The moment has arrived when Pine Leaf segues are so good nobody even notices he's moved on.
Nobody on the show
So
knows that it's
smooth,
gone.
it goes up and comes right past.
And I like how we had another one of those moments where Pine Leaf makes other people feel like they need to apologize when stuff like that happens. Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, so yeah, the most amazing creature is definitely the eagle. But the ultimate Lily Kate's creature has to be the Haradrim Oliphant, which can be found outside Osgiliath at the moment. The greatest thing about this, it took me back to my days of starting Lily Kate's creatures, where I have to get the snap with the pose and the emote, as you can see, without dying. It can be quite tricky. So I've got the first ones I got was just when I was really geeking out over these when I found them, because I wasn't expecting to see them there. So that's the first thing I was doing, cheering and trying to line up the shot and not get by the flying arrows, and it just went from one step to another step that was even more enjoyable, because then there was another one, so I was having to dodge the two of them but trying to get them in shot. And then I found the one at the gates with the two Argonath type statues. And yeah, if you look on LOTRO players, you'll see then I also bumped into the what's it? It's not the roving threat, is it? It's oh, what are they called? Somebody help me. The red ones. So I posted again another picture of one. So I will be going back to lie in wait and get some more shots, because I must admit I had the most enjoyable time taking screenshots of these creatures, and I loved them.
Yeah, and I laughed when I read through your article because it's like you really do think that this is like the best creature ever, and that's awesome because it's a really cool animal, and I like how you're like defending it, saying that they're really oppressed animals,
I
and
won't kill any of them.
yeah, that's really
And
cool.
yeah, I want to ride one, Turbine. I want to take one home to the show.
Will one fit in the Shire?
The whole Shire can't fit an elephant.
Well, it'd be a quick way to plough everybody's fields, won't it?
I suppose so. And when you dig into the field, you have to dig deeper and deeper underground, I guess.
Oh.
Oh, well done. Yeah, you see,
That was
I
the
woke
stretch,
up now.
Pine.
I see what you're doing.
That was the stretch, Pine Leaf.
Okay, now I didn't make an excellent video this week. I'm sorry. It's paltry to the video of the week, but I did make a little attempt to match some moving images to a song I've arranged for Lily Kate's Musical Creatures. I've had this one a couple of months now, and in my mind, I kept getting a story And the story is obviously it's Lily Kate exploring Moria because this arrangement actually has adapted lyrics. And the lyrics are all about the mines of Moria and the tunnels that just keep going deeper and deeper. So I totally abused Jamiroquai's song and this video is the result. Go and watch it.
Yeah, it's
It's
really cool.
fun. It's entertaining. I like the rest. I get down to the endless stare and then I don't know what I'm going to do next, so I port back to the Shire. Well, luckily, that's the end of the song. So, yeah, go watch it, go like it, subscribe to me, hurrah. That's what I've been doing this week, guys.
All right, then. Let's then head into the family line, part 46, A Friend in Brie. And considering some of the things that's been happening to this guy lately, that is something he needs.
For real. Oh my gosh. I binged again this week and I got caught up. And I'm just like, dude, come on!
All right, then. And now let's head into Brax, the last of Brax's picks of the week, then?
No. It's still a relic. It'll still be there for people
Well, it'll be
to...
somebody else's pick of the week.
No, out of honor for Brax, it'll still be his pick.
The
Okay.
Braxel Memorial pick of the week, like he's dead.
Brax Memorial pick of the week.
Yeah, so I was playing this this MMORPG game this week, and it's based on Tolkien intellectual property. It's called Lord of the Rings Online.
Really?
And
Never heard of it.
Yeah. That's a
yeah,
good
it's not bad really. It's pretty good. But I had a couple questions about it. I wasn't quite sure what was going on all the time. And as I was playing through it, I was thinking to myself, it'd be so cool if there was a website where all of the awesome members of this community could get together and write poetry and watch videos and listen to podcasts and be just a great big happy family together. And you know what? I did a Google search and I found that. And so the ultimate Brax pick of the week, all of my picks have been leading to this, culminating in this ultimate amazing pick of the week is this site that I found called LOTROplayers.com. And that's LOTROPLAYERS.com. You'll be amazed at all the stuff that's out there. There's podcasts, there's videos, there's it's just great. And this guy, this lead director, I don't remember his name, but he has the most amazing voice, and he's so happy all the time. It just makes me happy.
I think I'm gonna have to bookmark that site. That sounds awesome.
It's good. It's really good.
I actually don't think I have it bookmarked yet. That's awkward.
That sounds like a
It's
good site.
actually been around for like 2 years now.
Yeah, well, you know, we're not all right on top of things, Terry Adwin.
You know, Brax, I was checking out that site earlier this week. I know which one you're talking about, and I think they're actually in the process of celebrating like a 100th podcast too.
Yeah, I probably won't listen to that.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, yeah, that was it. That was the ultimate pick. Everybody should check out that site.
All right, thank you, Brax.
That's awesome.
And it's time to say goodbye to Iogro. Anything you want to say before you leave?
Well, guys, I just want to say thanks for the invite for this evening. What a fantastic way to end a 100th episode with as many people as we've got on here. And I just want to say thanks to all our hosts as well for ending and Pine Leaf and everybody else that's been a part of this. It's such a fantastic job that you guys do every week, and I look forward to the next few 100 episodes and the continuation of this.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Very well, then.
And
Oh,
thanks
and
for
I
all
have-
your help with the lore series, Iogra. That's been
Yes,
a lot.
I do have to make one apology though, that I did not get my Middle Earth lore series out this week for the Kings of Gondor. So we have 3 episodes left to go. That will pick back up next week.
Cool.
All right, then. Then everybody please welcome the artist formerly known as DJ Pimp Daddy.
Yay!
Not sure what to call myself these days.
Is he still?
You keep on changing your name?
Yeah. You just call me DJ. It's simpler for everyone involved.
But then we don't get to
Alright.
hear Pine Leaf say pimp.
Yeah, that is true.
Can we call you Deej?
Sure.
Right. All right, DJ, what have you been up to?
Well, my guardian, who I sort of doing a completionist route on, I finally made it out of Angmar. Yay!
Ooh.
Golf claps. and by made it out of, I mean I made kinship and then just gave up on the rest of it because wow, you know.
I thought you said completionist.
That's a hard place to solo. Well, I'm on level too, you know. So, and I'm like, I'm deep into Moria right now. So, but I've been goofing around more with my kinship. So that's about it.
All right then. And do you have any favorite memories from LOTRO Players News?
Okay, I'll keep this brief because I was making a list. Of course, we came up with the orc on a fork because that was hilarious. I loved participating in the Extra Life campaign, and I hope we do that again this year. And then Barnabas's origin stories cracked me up so much. I put in a note tweeting to Drac about my red painted skeleton steed. That was a highlight. And then overall, it's been fascinating to watch the explosive growth of the Players Alliance network. And I'm happy to see that you guys are finally having that upcoming release of the Farming Simulator Players podcast finally.
Yeah, DJ, I heard that you're the head of that podcast.
Possibly. I have to get Drac on board because he needs more shows.
That's right. I'm slacking with him, you know.
Put on your overalls. We're doing some farming.
Still working on Dark Souls. Players were too busy sobbing.
All right, anything else you'd like to add?
No. It's just it's fantastic. You guys made it to 100 episodes, and here's for the next 100. You know.
All right, then maybe you could help us with the new player question. And Maven, what's the question this week?
If you're around.
She's probably
Here I
muted
am.
again.
I was muted again. I
could
thought I
roleplay
unmuted and then
the
I
part.
muted and then I unmuted. So what's up with all this attention on steeds? You know, everybody's into steeds. I mean, everybody's collecting steeds. So is there really a difference between the steeds that are not war steeds? And if so, what's the difference? Why should I care about all these steeds?
Aside from appearances, right?
Right, obviously apparent. They all look different. But yeah, I mean, in terms of functionality, I suppose, really.
The rep steeds tend to have higher morale, and assuming you don't have something like journeyman riding trait, they'll be faster.
Aha. So yeah, so what is this? Tell me about this journeyman riding trait.
The journeyman riding trait. This is something that you can get in the LOTRO. You can also get an apprentice riding trait, and what these do is the apprentice riding trait makes all of your mounts that you have a speed equivalent to that of the fastest of the mounts that are currently in game, other than war steeds, of course, not counting war steeds.
Okay.
What the journeyman trait does is it makes yours even faster. So all yours are now faster than the
Fast
base
is
rate.
good.
Right. So let's go
78%
faster.
Speed.
Yeah, for people who are playing the game long term, that was like a game edition that I was so happy to pay for, was buying that, because every future steed you purchase or get is automatically a 78% speed horse.
Right.
It does make a big difference, doesn't it? I'm telling
yes.
you. Jeez. I mean, I did not begrudge that purchase one bit.
Right. Because, yeah, that's one of the few really fluffy things that I have purchased from the store was, yep, the journeyman riding trait. Now, the journeyman riding trait could either be purchased for an individual character or for your entire account, and I bought it for my entire account.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's
that's the way to
awesome
go.
account wide.
Yeah.
Yep, and when you have as many alts as I have, certainly a lot cheaper than getting them individually.
Yeah.
You can always tell like the veteran players in the starter zone, you know, that are like starting a new alt, because I mean, as soon as they are able to, they are like up on their steed and like whooshing away at journeyman speeds. You know, I mean, it's like, oh, this is a veteran here. Yes. Yeah. And when I first started, I was running everywhere, as was Corey. Corey actually ran from like Bree to Rivendell. Ran.
Wow.
I do that for fun.
I've done
Well,
that.
Sometimes I even walk.
That is the reason why I don't have the Undying on my Guardian, because I tried it at level like 10 or 8 or something ridiculous.
So speaking of steeds, I did get the well-traveled deed this week.
Awesome.
Accidentally
Has
on a
nothing to
goat.
do with Steeds.
Accidentally.
Yeah, on my goat.
Yes,
Like I tried to jump something and ended up being a very large hole in the ground.
It's one of those
Yes.
things where you go, oh, what? Oh.
Did you get rep for it too, which is nice. At least you get the rep for it.
My kinship, they gave me endless jokes about that. So
Did you survive the fall?
I did not.
I understand it can be done, huh?
Poor Nugget.
Yes, it can be done.
Poor Nugget died in the fall too. So
Oh.
It's a bummer when you don't die because then you have to tromp across the muck
That's
of
true.
the waterworks.
Normally, when I do the time in which I jump in there for the well-traveled is when I have a quest that's in the middle of the waterworks. So whenever I go in,
it's a fast travel.
Surviving actually puts me closer to the quest locations and revive.
Yep, I've done that.
yeah, people
Now,
in
of
chat are
course-
saying you have to walk off the edge and not jump.
Yep.
Ah, okay.
Now, the other thing, of course, is that you do have goats as opposed to horses and ponies. And goats, well, some people ride their goats everywhere, but goats are the only ones that are allowed to travel in certain underground areas, such as Moria and the Glittering Caves.
Right.
And I've noticed it seems like the goat, it appears slower, but it's just because the canter of the strides are slower than the horses. But I still pass people on horseback all the time, so I don't think it's actually slower. It just sounds slower.
I think the goats actually cap out at plus like 62% speed. So the goats, even the rep goats, are a little bit slower than the 68 speed horses. But if you're running with your journeyman riding trait, they're all bumped up to 78.
Yeah.
Because I have a couple characters that I've just decided they're going to ride a goat.
Yeah, so I usually rock my goat everywhere these days just because it's annoying. It's like just.
How is that, DJ?
my burglar is the prestigious one in the Tuesday group because she has the treasure goat. So she's riding around Moria and the fancy goat, and they all have the rep goats from Thorin's Hall.
She's complaining about every 28 silver gouge from every stinking
To me, the
stable
rep goat
master.
for Thorns Hall would be a fancy goat.
Yeah, it
compared
is.
to
It's,
one I
it's
have.
got a 62% speed. It's nice.
It's not a fancy goat compared to the treasure goat. That treasure goat's pretty sweet.
Well, yeah, but you got to remember, I ride on the freebie that you get because I had pre-ordered Mirkwood.
Nice.
Oh, neener.
I think I got mine from the one of the treasure digs.
Yeah. The trouble with the Mirkwood goat, though, is that it has 60 morale, so if a orc sneezes near it, you fall off.
The orc's like, goat. Oh, I fell.
All right, anybody else have anything to add on steeds? Did we answer your question?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So the thing that everybody has that the people that are like collecting seeds are just collecting. They're just collectors. I mean that's just what they do.
It's mainly you might want one rep one just to get the high level of morale.
Right.
But
Well-
getting multiple rep ones.
And also, you want those spaces on your quick slots to be filled. Now that we have less class skills, you got to fill them up with those steeds. I mean,
I fill them up with milestones. but you're right. Some of my characters have like a long line of steeds.
I go
True.
collecting steeds and then I go coordinating my outfit with my horse. So
That's right.
So I'm the only one that filled it up with beer and tobacco.
No.
Not
Oh,
the
that's
only
a good
one.
idea.
That sounds like
No. Terry's sporting the tobacco and the beer. Mostly the booze. Oh, you mean we're going to run Urigarth again? I better get the ale.
Only if
I
it's
thought-
Four Roars Brew.
I thought how hilarious it'd be to do an entire LP, like playing like the epic line, but you're just wasted drunk the entire time.
Oh, we ran Rift when they were wasted. That was something.
Yep. I stacked up because it was our second trip through the rift. I was like, I'm not doing this sober. So
Yeah, Terry's over there like passing out ale to
Shit,
half the
the
party, and
plus they're all totally smashed.
can't remember if that was the night my computer died or not. I don't know.
You spilled the alcohol on the computer.
No.
Yeah, so I guess to finalize this section, we definitely need war goats, and we definitely need red painted skeleton goats.
Also, you know,
Somebody
back to the
had
shrew
to
thing,
mention it.
Back to the shrew question. I think we need rideable shrews as well. Nobody's
Definitely.
excited. Yeah. See, I knew.
So are
Yeah.
we gonna start asking for war hobbits too now?
Yeah.
I was gonna say nobody
Lit.
like no to warhogs. This cannot be a thing.
There's no hobby goats.
No,
I was thinking war hobbits actually, but
Yeah,
you know.
Zinger made
You
a
ride the
funny joke
hobbits?
about that in the past.
Yeah, I want
Yeah.
rideable hobbits.
That was an April Fool's joke on LOTRO Players a while ago.
I'll give you.
That could
I
get
want-
real awkward
I
real
want an olive
fast.
one.
I mean,
Oh, it was. There were pictures.
I want my goat to handle terrain like they do in that Battle of the Five Armies movie. That would be awesome.
Oh,
Wall?
like a flipper?
What wall?
So you mean like the best mounted climbing goat with like coffee packs strapped on and like injected with like pure caffeine?
And
There you
flubber.
go. That's right. Forget that
Yeah.
rubber banding junk in Rohan. I'll just bounce across everything.
Forward rubber banding.
All right.
Right then.
I say it's this topic is complete now.
Zinger in the
Yes.
chat says that he wants an Int Slay team.
You know how long it'd take to get places, though?
I think adding more
be
ints
fun,
just
though.
slows them down. I don't think that speeds it up.
I think it'd be awesome.
I mean, you could speed up by heading south, of course, but it's downhill.
Throw in the
I hate
poetry
that
for
line.
free.
I hate that line so much.
Hey, when are we gonna get
hate it. I
rideable
put it in.
Ents? We have pet Ents now. Can we get a rideable one? Just saying. I don't actually want that.
Okay.
Okay, just
Let
making that
us-
clear.
Let's say goodbye to DJ.
Aw.
Goodbye, DJ.
Bye, DJ.
Goodbye,
Bye,
DJ.
DJ.
I guess
Bye,
this is the end.
Bye,
Goodbye.
Deej.
My DJ.
This has been your hour with DJ Pimp Daddy.
Ooh.
Smooth.
That was DJ Pimp Daddy, and please welcome Roger, our next guest.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello there.
Roger.
Thanks for having me on the show, guys. It's a pleasure to see you reach episode 100.
Yeah,
All right,
thanks for
Raj.
coming on.
And
Woo.
can you tell us what you've been up to?
What have I been up to recently? I've been cancelling podcasts, namely my own. I was resubscribing to LOTRO and I was getting ready for update 16, and then I got a little bit sidetracked by some real world things that are going on at the moment, so gaming's been a little bit sidelined. I'm going to be a grandfather in about 2-3 weeks time.
Oh, awesome.
Yay.
Congrats.
I'm
Wow.
also setting up my own business, consultancy business, so this has slightly diverted me away from my usual focus, but I'm going to hopefully be back in LOTRO in about a week or so.
All right. And then soon after that, your grandchild is going to start beating on your keyboard.
I don't think so yet. It's not one, two, twins.
Two of them.
Oh my
good grief.
goodness.
Dual boxing. Yeah.
That came as a surprise, especially to my son.
It's like Insta family. Just add water.
There you go.
I thought the one that would be a surprise for would be your daughter-in-law.
Oh, she's taking it all in her stride.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. And what have you been your favorite moments?
Favorite moments. Episode 50 was a particularly enjoyable experience. I had the pleasure of being a guest on your show then. And because I'm a podcaster, I always take a recording myself as a safety net. And I still have the full unexpurgated version of
Wow.
episode 50 of LOTRO Player News with all the pre and post chat unexpurgated material. That was just.
I think he's blackmailing us on air. I think that's what's going on.
No, it was great. It was just a great experience. I love the way you guys just have multiple guests and yet it still all comes together, because I'm a bit of a sort of post-production freak and I just like to tweak and twiddle and edit and take bits out and change them around, and you guys just do it all live, which is an incredibly difficult thing to do, and yet it always comes together, and I think it's a very organic show, and I think that is possibly one of the great aspects about LOTRO Player News. Also, I would like to reference the fact that just before the launch of Helm's Deep, when epic battles raised their ugly head, it was very heartening to find fellow podcasters that also had a somewhat, shall we say, ambivalent attitude towards them.
I don't know anybody on this podcast that doesn't like them.
Well, I stand corrected.
Ambivalent is a mild word.
Hate is the word that comes to mind to me. But anyway, I digress.
I consider them a necessary evil.
No,
Well, the
they're,
evil
they're
part
just
is at
evil.
least
Yeah, I'm
true.
gonna say the evil part is right. Necessary, not so much.
It's the one thing I just can't warm to. I've tried to change my mindset. I just find them too long and too taxing for an old person such as me.
Roger, right there with you.
Right, I can imagine. Especially now, I didn't exactly like them before, but when they added Pelagear, it turned into loathing. I think is the word I want to say.
Indeed.
Anybody else? Anything you want to add?
I think we're ready to go on to everybody else's favorite moments finally.
All right then, Andy, what are your favorite moments?
Wow, look at that. Well, my favorite moments were the Walmart origin story, for one, was just absolutely amazing. And I still want, if we ever get together, we're going to Walmart, if we ever get together in real life, and we're going to act that thing out. Because that would just be amazing.
The
But,
people there are going to think we're weird.
Don't worry about them,
Sam's
Pine
gonna
Leaf.
make them think we're weird, Pine Leaf.
Pine Leaf, they already think we're weird.
I say don't even worry about it. Just go with it.
The millions of unseen listeners.
And also the Ethel and Ross origin story and all the voiceover that went with that I did was a lot of fun. That was just such a perfect origin story, especially the captain. He could not level because his captain can't level. Was just fantastic. And also, DJ's game was just absolutely amazing. I had a lot of fun doing a playthrough going through that. I still can't believe that I did a playthrough of a game that was about a show that I do. It's just so awesome. And then probably my favorite moment, or next to favorite moment, is the Skirmish Tortillas origin story, because Pine Leaf does Lily Rose. And it is the best thing ever.
That's right.
It's just amazing. And that same episode, Athelros is also Mist and himself, and he does a change between Mist and him, and it's like he sounds like pretty monotone, and then he switches over to himself, and you realize that he wasn't monotone at all because somehow he managed to like squeeze out this extra monotone Athelrosness, and it was just so great. And then finally,
still have no memory of doing that, so it's probably for the best.
It got uploaded on a video this week, so I think that it's there. Anyway, also every single time we've broken Pine Leaf has just been a highlight. Whenever he lets out his huge Pine Leaf laugh, but in particular when he was just totally flabbergasted by the whole Sauron blowing up the moon moment. That was pretty good. So yeah, those are my favorite moments. Lillicate, what are yours?
My three favorite moments are, in general, people laughing and laughing until they basically pass out. That honestly, that just cracks me up. It's usually when I'm on a call and I have to mute myself because I'm crying so hard I can't even see the screen. My next favorite moments have to be Lizzie moments. We caught her, it was in a blooper moment, not on the show, when she's talking to everybody else and she's learning who everybody is. She's just started reading. She reads everybody's names and she gets to Etheros and she went, and that one, who's that one? So yeah, generally Lizzie being Lizzie. You can find more Lizzie on our shows on YouTube. She's definitely still playing Lotro and she's still, I don't know, she just cracks me up all the time. And my final favourite moment is before show and it's Pine Leaf calling the countdown to showtime. I love it.
How is
It's
that a
just,
favorite moment?
20 minutes.
it's just something, it's just something I find so adorable.
I feel like
19 minutes.
when it's the end of the world, Pine Leaf will be counting down. It'll be like 15 minutes, you guys, and we're just gonna be like, oh, it's time.
So
That'd be like when the Vogons are coming.
No,
You've
not
had
the
your
Vogons.
chance to appeal the process. It's been up in your local office for years.
Yeah, just being a part of so many different talented people who play this game, it's just absolutely amazing. And thanks again for letting me join in. Sometimes I'm not exactly awake like tonight. And yeah, just it's great to be a part of this extremely amusing and informative, I hope to some people, podcast.
Hey, Lillicate, do you remember the episode where we were trying to get the show, or Andang was trying to get the show started, and you had handed the microphone over to Lizzie, and she wouldn't stop talking, and I kept egging her on and asking her questions, and Andang was like, "Oh, okay, Lizzie. Oh, okay, Lizzie. Put your
Yep.
mom back on, Lizzie." That was one. I forgot
she
about
keeps
that until
going.
just now.
That's when she was telling Pineleaf that she was saying that he was rubbish at Lotro, but she meant skirmish. No, she meant PvP, and so she was calling him out on his PvP skills, but saying he was good at Lotro, i.e., she enjoyed watching his skirmishing. So yeah, she wouldn't stop. Yeah, no, I have to actually physically wrestle the microphone back from her and then mute it really quickly while she goes into meltdown mode. But yeah, no, she's great. Yeah, she's always amusing when she's not binge stroppy. That's not amusing at all.
All right then. Did Alistair give you that much trouble?
No, no, and you're a much better harpist as well.
All right, let's go to Braxwolf.
Yeah, this was really hard.
Yeah.
As you can imagine, being on from episode 8 to, I don't know, 70 something when I took my break, maybe, and that's a lot. And so I've got a lot of episode favorites, and I've got a lot of kind of personal non-episode favorites too that I'm gonna take some time here because honestly, this is my last chance to do it. First of all, the Extra Life Marathon last year was probably the highlight of my entire year for as far as gaming goes. I mentioned it a little bit at the start of the show how everybody kind of rallied around, and I got support from a lot of people, but a great majority of those people were from the Lotro community. And if you don't remember what happened, I gave kind of a little testimony about my son getting sick when he was younger and going to a children's hospital and seeing all the other children there that were so sick. And the community really responded to that. And It was just kind of amazing to see everybody rally around. I had people coming into the stream um, when I started, and then they went to bed for a few hours and they came back into the stream. I had one guy that fell asleep on my stream because he was trying to make it through the whole thing, and it was. And I'm not a great streamer, folks. I don't do this all the time like some of these guys like Aerith and these guys do. So I'm not entertaining. So it was really just out of the goodness of these people's heart trying to cheer me on, and it was just amazing. Great experience. If you have a chance to do that this year, I would highly encourage you to participate in some way. Of course, you guys, and you mentioned the LOTRO Players RPG. When video gaming has been your hobby, as long as it has mine, and you find yourself in a position where you're sitting down in front of your computer playing a game with yourself in it, that's when you kind of think to yourself, "Hey, I've made it. This is the epitome of cool right here." And really, the other cool part about that game for me was not only all the inside jokes and the fact that all my friends were in it, but the fact that DJ put my son in the game with me, and we were kind of a duo. It was really kind of special. So I thought that was amazing as well. Let's see. Oh, in the bloopers, we had the snack foods conversation we had with Ethelros and Lillicate. We were telling them all the American snack food names, and they were scoffing at us.
And the funny part is that that's just like a small portion. If I remember right, that was like an hour conversation in the actual like after show. So
yeah, that went on forever.
There was like multiple episodes of back show too.
Have you tried a ho-ho yet?
No.
I just can't get my hands on a ho-ho.
We'll send you a case of ding-dongs. Okay. Oh, and here's a story from very early on. I'm sure a couple of I think Drac will remember this for sure. Early on, when we had first started to try to do chat rooms on our live show, we didn't have 31 listeners like we do today, like we do tonight. We had maybe 2, maybe 3 people show up, sometimes just 1. And this one of the first times we did a chat room.
This was the first time, actually.
It was the first time. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It was right around the time that Helm's Deep was starting to come out, and people were very unhappy about some of the aspects of that expansion. And somebody came into the chat room. He was either the only one or there was 2 people. And this person listened to the show for a while, kind of silently lurking. And then about halfway through, he just completely lambasted us for not knocking Helm's Deep and calling it out and saying it was terrible. And he threw about 3 of these these type of horrible things in the chat room and then just left. And after the show, we talked about, we said, I don't think I've ever seen anybody rage quit a chat room before.
That was a pretty epic moment, actually.
Well, the funny part is we were negative about that later on in the show, regardless of if he had said that or not. So if he would have just stuck around, then he would have known that we weren't all positive. But anyway.
Yeah, I thought we were completely fair. But, there was some very polarizing viewpoints out there at that time. So it was kind of charged. Doing my pick of the week has been a great experience. It's given me an opportunity to highlight folks within the community that maybe don't get a lot of page views or are just doing some amazing things. I remember early on I put a really funny video out there as my pick of the week that Whiteberry did with her dwarf dancing to I'm Too Sexy or something, and just things like that you remember and the people that you meet doing it. Of course, the friends. I'm really happy to be here tonight with my ex-co-hosts for the show and with the new co-hosts. I think that it's a great group that's been brought in. It's one of the reasons that I feel very comfortable walking away at this point, because I've listened to the episodes since I've been on break, and it's just I sit back and go, wow, this show has come a long way. It's just fantastic. The opportunity to interact with so many cool guests and community members, guys. I got to do a nobody, a gamer, got to do a debate with the Tolkien professor about Tolkien lore.
Yeah.
All right, that is pretty darn cool. That's something special to me, and I'll always remember doing that. And I thank Corey Olson for going easy on me.
I must admit, my first response is, why would you? Besides the cool factor, but yeah.
Why not, right? I mean, you only have so much time on this world, I guess.
Exactly.
Well, it would have been really funny since Drac was the judge if he would have just like even if like Corey had like the best debate he ever gave, and then Drax just like, yeah, Terry, you win this week. Good job.
I wasn't on the show at that point.
Yeah, I know, but I needed a name.
See,
and you
that would have
couldn't
been
pick
even funnier though, because you won and you weren't even on the show. See?
one.
And really, my last one I wanted to bring up was it's been really cool to kind of be here from the beginning and to see, to
Yeah.
remember those first times, the first chat room, the first live show we did, the first time somebody was a co-host, the first time somebody was a guest, and to see where the show is today and where the website is today 2 years later, and how much it's grown and how much bigger the community is now and how much more involved some people are. I mean, just bringing in a new set of co-hosts to the podcast has it seems like it's doubled the size of the community with all the folks that have been brought in with fans from Aerotheric's channel and fans from the Tolkien Professor, and to have everybody involved the way they are today. It's just been really cool to think back to kind of the quote unquote salad days when Andang and I would message each other and go, well, what should we do different on the show, you know, or what can we tweak, what will bring more listeners in, or what will play to our audience's strengths and stuff like that. So it's fun to think back and know that I was in on the beginning of that, and to see how much of it's worked. And
Yeah.
so those are the things that stand out in my mind from the last 100 episodes. And I do hope to stick around and listen to the next 100 and see where it goes from here.
All right, thank you. And Draculetta.
I would have to say one of my all-time favorite moments has to be Etheros and the boat of peas. That whole thing was just hilarious, but just the boat of peas, just the way he said it, and he said it just nonchalantly,
Yeah.
and it was just amazing. The LOTRO Players RPG, of course, and I guess I have to kind of mirror what Brax said about it. It's just so cool to like play a game that I'm in it, and to hear my what in the game was, you know, kind of caught me by surprise. So, and
That's
of
pretty
course,
meta.
yeah, it is. It is. Of course, the orc at a fork and Pine Leaf's Porqué.
¿Por qué? No sé.
And then all of the Red Horse jokes that haunt me to this day, even in other games and on Twitter. I think at least once a day, somebody either tweets me or says something about the Red Horse. So that's kind of cool that it's, and like I said, it's following me into other games even, which I really find amazing. And just all of the amazing people that I met and became friends with. Just and the opportunity that I've had, you know, being a co-host on this, and then being able to start DDO players and help out on Guild Wars players, and it's just the whole thing's been amazing.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you. And Carvette.
Well, as the newest LOTRO Players news host, I didn't have a whole lot on my list, but one of the things that kind of stands out to me, reaching over to that other show we used to do, LOTRO Players Adventures, you know, being this unknown dwarven tank who just kind of showed up in episode 3 as an extra, was a lot of fun. You know, the first time I really did a lot of that content was with LOTRO Players Adventures. And you know, the first time I ever ran a skirmish raid was Gondaman, and that was episode 3. And I remember watching it later because, you know, there was a very select group that was on the call, hearing Pine Leaf go, okay, who triggered the encounter? And I'm like, oh, that was me. I did that. I was so that guy. And you know, it was interesting because even the times I tried to watch the stream and be in the group, the stream was like 30 seconds delayed. So I would do something and then go, oh, wait, that was not the right idea. Oh, never mind. But, you know, that was actually where I met Terry Adwin. And that's kind of where Carve and Company, the original beginnings of it spawned from, was just the kind of the B team, as we kind of jokingly called ourselves at the time. You know, those who were in Skype but not on the call. We were on the other call, trying to coordinate behind the scenes. You know, trying to keep everybody alive. It was interesting because when you've got a group of people playing a game, and half of them are on one call and the other half are on a different call, and you're trying to figure out what's going on. I mean, it was a lot of fun. So that's definitely some of the things that stick out in my mind, as well as being preparing for the show, cutting up with Andang and Erether before, during, and after the show, and saying things that, okay, yeah, we're talking on a show about Lord of the Rings Online, and it's very heavily Tolkien lore influenced, but tossing in random bits of pop culture and fantasy references and whatever random thing comes into mind, and then just playing off one another is just so much fun, and it's even double points if Pine Leaf like loses it. Like the whole Mordor laser moon satellite thing that went on that episode. I was just Andang went there, and I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be fun." And so we just started throwing stuff out, and by the end of it, I could see Pine Leaf had like spirals in his eyes, and he's just, well then. And so I mean, yeah, that's just some of the things that kind of popped to mind recently.
Yeah, Pine Leaf's therapist got overtime that week.
Citrus.
Well, some of my favorite moments are always pretty much. I always think of the before and after show shenanigans and bloopers, especially when we would have adventures, and then a few hours later we'd have news, and oftentimes we'd end up just talking and chatting those couple of hours between the two shows, and things would get pretty ridiculous at times.
Yeah,
And
and real quick, Sithrit, just to say something, the bloopers and things like that weren't that crazy until we brought you on. And for some reason, they got really crazy, especially Thursday nights. I don't know if you remember when we had like the rare Thursday night recordings that would just be so crazy.
Well, if you recall the Boat of Peas, whatever episode that was,
Episode
that
59.
Yep,
Yes,
the longest bloopers was a Thursday night.
yes, that happened, and yeah. Yes, I'm aware that I am maybe the cause of a lot of ridiculousness in the bloopers. Also, with adventures, apparently got a bit sillier when I joined as well.
But that's a good thing.
Yeah, I enjoy the silliness, so it was good. Another thing that I always think about that I really enjoyed, it wasn't necessarily for the podcast, although we posted it on the site and everything, was our weather top coverage from last year. I remember I had to wake up at 3 in the morning for that. And I think I feel like the call ended up being something like 7 or 8 hours long
It was really
because
close to that, yeah.
yeah, because Weathertop was super long, and then half an hour after we got off the call for that, we then did the news. So it was just hours and hours and hours of Weathertop and Lotro, and by the end of the news, we were all just like, "Oh my gosh, what is happening?"
Shout out to Weatherstock this year, July 25th, guys.
Yeah. We'll probably be streaming again, so be on the lookout for that.
All right. And Terry Adwin.
Well, most of my highlights have already sort of been covered, except for the Balrog song.
Yes.
Which I have to go back to Carvet for that because those were his lyrics. But yeah, the Balrog song was definitely one of my favorite moments.
Which was a byproduct of the Drunken Rift Raid, I might add.
Yeah, that was a follow-up to the Drunken Rift Raid.
Now, granted, I don't think I was drinking in-game or in real life, but we were up until some obscene amount of time in
Like
the
2
night
in the
doing that.
morning.
Yeah, it was late, and I
On a
remember waking up.
Tuesday.
Yeah, I remember waking up the next day going, "What was I thinking?" And then all of a sudden it was like, do you want to kill a Balrog? And then it just kind of went from there.
I just imagine like these robed people like singing in Carvet's mind, like behind pillars now.
Oh, yeah. That's my personal soundtrack.
I feel like it would actually be Carv's personal soundtrack would be those monks from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. The Jesu Domine. That bit. That's what I imagine.
Requiem.
Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, that bit.
Very well. Does anyone else have anything to add?
Sure. I just clipped through a bridge. Sorry, I may or may not be playing while I.
Hopefully you didn't clip through a bridge in real life, but
It's
anyway.
okay. I totally ran Tuckborough earlier.
Yeah, with doing Sandbrook and stuff like that. So yeah, I'd have to say I can't really pick any one particular thing. Just the general bit of every Saturday. I used to stream on Saturdays from like 4 p.m. until late / when I got tired / when I got over it, and then I was asked to be on the podcast, and I was like, oh sure, this will be fun. And it was a little bit of like, holy crap, because I remember listening to it when I first started. In all honesty, I stopped listening kind of because I forgot it existed for a little bit. And then I kind of had, well, I don't really listen to it anymore because I'm on it. But I don't like listen again on Mondays or anything because ain't nobody got time for that. But I think my favorite part of being a part of all this, which is super amazing, is that whole time before and after, the part that most people don't hear, where it's just pure ridiculousness, even more than what people do here. And
Yep.
Us?
Nonsense. Just like cutting up with Carve and with Ending and breaking Pine Leaf as much as possible every week. And just seeing how hard we can make Trish laugh, and just all sorts of
Oh yeah,
fun
that's
stuff.
hard to do.
Yeah. Nope.
Terry too, for that matter.
That's also true.
Those are side quests. The main goal is to make Pine laugh.
I told Trish one day that I think Ending wants her and I on the show because we're an easy laugh.
We are.
It's true. Like, well, it's not true.
Don't speak for me,
just saying.
Arathurge. You don't need to speak for me.
No, but like having people on, all of us laughing so often and so easily,
Yeah.
I'm sure is what makes this, in part a fun podcast for listeners. When we have so much fun every single week, even when there's no in-game news, even when all of us are like, I didn't do much this week, just kind of did some stuff. And Terry's like, I did crafting. If Terry's doing crafting, it's been a slow week, but we still have fun. And just, I can't really pick a moment. Like the Balrog song is one for sure, but just the week in, week out, having fun is what's made it special for me.
Here, here.
All right.
And I'm going to go mute myself and cough my lungs out.
I guess I should probably be saying something at some point.
All right. Frantic, have you done anything?
That was Etheros.
Okay, that is my favorite moment ever, right there.
I know when I'm not wanting to be heard.
Well,
Feel free to move on.
You
without
said that
me.
so quietly as if you wanted to be ignored.
That was amazing.
Burnt area.
Singer in the chat says denied.
Please carry on, Brannick, please. Don't mind me.
At this point, I'm not sure I want to.
Let me just speak a little bit for Ethelros. Ethelros, I want to thank you for the times that your captain was involved in LOTRO Plays Adventures, because I had so much fun as a tank cleaning up what you brought that, I mean, there are other people that were like, man, Ethelros is crazy. And I'm sitting here going, bring it. This is awesome. As Terry can attest to, when we run on Tuesdays, I have a minstrel that does the same thing. And we compared him to Ethelros for a while, because he would just go and grab everything. And that's what makes grouping fun to me as a tank. It's like, bring me the things. I'll take care of it. So I want to thank you for that.
I'm glad someone enjoyed it. In all honesty, the reason I was able to go ham with that sort of thing is because I knew you'd be able to handle it.
Oh, I think I'm just going to start crying.
You feel the love tonight.
Does the Thalros have emotions? Is that happening?
I think that if he did,
Yay.
they probably just got like overwhelmed with all of the dramatic response from everybody that just did what we did there.
All right. Was that your favorite moment with Ethros, or do you have something else to add?
We killed him.
He doesn't want to be rejected anymore.
Wait, what? Now you want me to say things, is it?
Yes, say something, Ethelros.
And it has to have something to do with stones and beans.
Man, we
we
are just
not,
picking on the
please?
Tauros tonight.
This happens every time. Half the origin stories is getting either beaten up, or having my memories stolen, or
Well, to be fair, that was part of the writing prompt because I was like, things people do to a Tauros and like something else, and those were like the two prompts. So it made it into pretty much every origin story because of that.
Right. In all seriousness, like I know I've had this whole kind of persona for it, like pretty much since we started of being the gloomy, depressed one, and like I wouldn't say it's entirely just like invented for the sake of entertainment, but yeah, I'm trying to think how to put this best.
Well, I do remember on Fellowship of the Creeps especially that you were a light-hearted person and you were all happy and excited. And so if you ever want to hear the happy side of a Thalros, go back and listen to some of those old episodes. It's kind of terrifying now that now that he's so gloomy all the time.
Yeah, I just having like it's interesting you actually mentioned Fellowship because that's obviously how I kind of started out this whole thing to begin with. And yeah, I think probably just to mention favorite moments in general is just any time we've kind of been just messing around or laughing at anything really. Creeps and adventures especially, and all the after show, pre-show bloopers, etc.
Yeah.
I can honestly say that in those times that we've been playing, I've never laughed as hard any other time than I have then. At least even to the point where it actually physically hurts me.
Which is more often than you would imagine.
Yeah, people here can attest to that. It gets quite painful for me. But yeah, I really do appreciate the time I've had on here, both on LOTRO Players, Adventures, Creeps, various other parts, especially Guild Wars, which we've been doing recently. It's just a lot of fun. I just do appreciate having had the opportunity to play around with people who are apparently everywhere. So it's really good fun for me, and I appreciate it a lot.
Thank you.
We miss you at Thalros.
And now I'm going to mute myself for the next however long.
No, Brannick.
What?
I think you missed your cue. But yeah, Brannick, it's your turn. What's your favorite moments?
For LOTRO players or LOTRO players news specifically?
Either or both.
Well, for LOTRO players news, I must admit I actually haven't listened to very many episodes. I'm trying to listen more now. Unfortunately, I made the mistake of listening while programming, so a lot of it I didn't retain, and I have to re-listen. But as far as LOTRO players news goes, my favorite moment has to be episode 97, where I was on as a guest, and the after show. When we were just talking about games and game design and adventure games and things for hours and hours after the show. We were just having a great conversation.
That was a
about
fun
games.
night. I remember that.
For a long time. And Terry Adwin left and was like, I forget why she had to leave. She came back like over an hour later. You guys are still here?
Yeah, I think I recorded 2 hours of that and then stopped recording. I'm pretty sure there were like 1 or 2 hours after that even, so it was a long discussion after the show.
I'm pretty sure my girlfriend thought I died because I wasn't responding to her texts or anything. But it was that was a good conversation for sure.
Yeah, it was. And those are the types of conversations that I really, really enjoy. That's why I do one of the other podcasts that I do, Armchair Designers, is really just because it's a chance to have conversations, like deep conversations about games and game design, and with other people who are interested in those kinds of conversations.
I think
So
my
I love that stuff.
I think my Steam wish list doubled that night.
Nice. Very nice. And then as far as my favorite memories from Lotro players kind of as a whole, um, really it all goes back to those initial phone calls with Anding and kind of the origins of the site itself, and is because it started out as just an idea, and I remember Anding was like asking me like, what do you think of this idea? Should I go for it? And just kind of seeing how far it's progressed and how much it's grown since then.
Yeah.
It's kind of unbelievable.
Yeah. And I remember a lot of long phone calls with you back in the day, Brannick, about all sorts of things from gaming to Lotro players to, all sorts of things. So that was a lot of fun.
Well, yeah, because whenever we start talking about games, you're one of those people who knows I can talk about games indefinitely.
Yep.
So that's kind of my thing.
Awesome.
All right. Maven.
That is me. I am Maven. I am here.
Hear her roar.
Hear me roar. That's right. Actually, so I am just I got to be the noob of the group for sure, because I started to play in August. Corey and I both started playing August, and to tell you the honest truth, I've been a Lotro Players Academy girl for most of the time since I've been playing in August. And so I got to know Brannick and Draculetta and Pineleaf and Mystery through those shows, and they helped me through a number of things, except for the fact that they completely intimidated me when it came to skirmishes. It was just like, I'm sorry. I mean, I know y'all did a great job of describing him, but it just was like, oh my gosh, I don't think Tuckborough still, I get chills when I go in there. But anyway, so I was relatively new listening to the news. I think I'd been listening for all of maybe 6 weeks worth when Andang says, "Hey, come be a host." I was like, okay, awesome sauce. But my favorite, like a lot of the newer hosts, my favorite moments tend to be, since I've been on. And I will say that the laughing part pretty much covers everything. I mean, I come away from the shows on Saturday night exhausted from laughing. Uh, we cover interesting stuff too. I mean, I've really enjoyed getting involved with, the debate that turned into the skirmish now every week, talking about lore, which is, of course, kind of my gig anyway. But I really enjoy doing that. And I don't know, I think outside of the show now, I have new questing buddies, which is awesome. I mean, Terry and I think, what do we have, like at least 3 twosomes now that we're running,
something like that.
Something like that we're not leveling unless we're together, which is, it's like, I don't think we should do any more.
I believe the term is duos.
Duos,
Twosomes just
yes.
sounds wrong.
Twosomes, okay, duos. Well, I don't know, the bare-chested dwarves, they could be a twosome. No, never mind. So anyway, it's just been a real pleasure, and I'm just thrilled that you have gotten to 100, and I get to be part of that. And I'm just looking forward to more shows and more other ventures that Lotro Players is doing. I mean, the lore series is going to be awesome too. So anyway, so I'm really a fangirl in disguise, I think, is the truth.
Real quick, Zinger from the chat says, Brannick got me into listening to Lotro podcast with Academy, which is, in fact, got him to to joining with Lotro players and listening to more podcasts and all the cool moments Lotro peoples on the internets. So he said, mad respect for Brannick. So there you go.
Yay!
All right.
Huzzah!
Eric, do you have any memories?
I think I
Or
think
have you
my
just
voice is
have
so
you just lost
different.
your mind?
Pineleaf, do you have any
I think
memories of Arthur giving his memories?
I think my voice is just so
Well,
different. It threw him off there. That's what we'll say.
That's right. Because you
Yeah.
can
right. It
already
got
speak
removed
finally.
from the from the from the show notes. All right.
That's okay.
Anyone else
Make
have
the
anything
sick
they wish?
guy do it again. It's okay.
Yeah, thanks.
At least he didn't call
Anyone
me
else have
Braxwood
anything they
tonight.
wish to add?
It's just the voice.
Yeah, I've got a few memories I'd like to cover. Just kidding. Actually, I will add one more. Pine leaves. Alrighty then, moving on. That
Yeah.
occurring half a dozen times an episode just for some reason does not get old.
It's code for shut up now.
All right.
Well,
Very
and
well.
real quick, Pineleaf is
And that was the other
such.
one. All right. Very well. That was another one. He
Just
just did it.
Pineleaf in general is a highlight of the show because he is so different than any other co-host I've heard on any podcast. And it's so awesome because you're totally original and very entertaining, and however you did that, it's amazing. So
Finally, you're a
congrats to
national
that.
treasure. That's just it.
I'm
You're
a
just a
national
national.
treasure.
I
Yeah.
feel like he's Finally, I feel like you're the exasperated parent of the show sometimes.
I feel like it sometimes.
I can imagine.
Exasperated therapist.
Yes. All right. Brannick, you had something that you wanted to promote?
Yeah, actually, I meant to bring this up earlier when talking about kind of what I've been up to, and it slipped my mind at the time. Um, One of the other things I've been doing over the past few months is getting into tabletop D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, and I've been following this Twitch stream called How We Roll, which is very good, and I highly recommend it. But I was actually able to interview Gorbad, who's the DM. He's been a DM since 1980 or 81, and has been playing D&D since the 70s and knows a lot about the history of it. So I got the chance to interview him for my Armchair Designers podcast, talking a lot about RPG design, a lot about D&D, and a lot about all kinds of other random things that we decided to talk about, like Amiga games and such. And that episode is actually going to be posting on Monday, so I thought I would go ahead and mention that as well.
All right. Thank you.
Awesome.
As for my favorite moments usually involve poetry.
Surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise. So therefore, reading some of these, or sometimes attempting to read some of these wonderful poems that people sent to me, and seeing how if I could interpret them properly, it's always been a little bit of a challenge there, and they've always given me some of my favorite memories on the time of this show. And the other favorite thing is being able to help new players with the new player questions that we have coming up now.
Dang,
So anyone else have anything to add?
another smooth transition.
I'd just like to say that at the end of the show, there will be all our favorite moments and bloopers and things like that. There won't be anything after that, so if you don't want to listen to those, you can just delete the podcast and go away until next week. But for those of you that want to listen to that kind of stuff, we have all our favorite moments and all our bloopers from the last 100 episodes on there. So be sure to check that out.
Wow.
Yeah,
Right.
so that's like 2.5 hours just there alone.
It's
And
going to
we've
be a
been going
norm.
for 2 hours now, so it's kind of crazy.
Right. We currently have 11 supporters on Patreon. If you would like to join this illustrious raid of players and help support LOTRO players, simply go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. There you will find rewards, including a mention on the podcast of your choice or even a guest spot on an episode of LOTRO Players News. And Anding, how far are we from our next goal?
Well, Pineleaf, we actually just got a donation in that changed it up to 11 just while we were doing the show, so that's awesome, first of all.
Ooh.
And we're now up to $89 a month, which means that we are basically a little bit more than $10 away from a Guild Wars 2 Digital Deluxe Edition giveaway. So that's exciting.
All right then. And let's say goodbye to Roger now.
Well,
Bye,
thanks for
Roger.
having me on. It would be remiss of me if I didn't say before I went. I think it's a sign of a healthy community when you have a podcast that sort of becomes the focal point of that particular game. And it's very reassuring to see, as I said earlier, LOTRO Player News hit 100. And I think you are that podcast. I think it's great that there seems to be this renaissance within the LOTRO community, and you've now got, there's lots of affiliate shows and people coming back and writing about the game again. I always think it's been a little bit unfair that in some respects people have said, LOTRO Player News, it's the show that sort of filled the gap after Casual Stroll sort of went on its way. And you very much do your own thing, and you are your own unique beast. And I just, like I say, think it's very, very healthy to see a thriving show and a growing show, particularly when you consider that LOTRO is not a spring chicken of a game. So well done, guys and girls. It's all very, very reassuring and cool.
Thank you very much, Roger, and thanks for agreeing to come on at last second. That's awesome.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Roger.
We did not receive any reviews from iTunes, but we do have some emails. Jenny writes, "Hello, LOTRO Players News. I decided to bite the bullet and do something scary and send in a sound file for your 100th episode. A couple of things. This is quite long, so if you want to cut it, if you can, I have no idea about editing sound files. That would be cool. Also, that little cough I do after I talk about sea spray is not related to what I just said about sea spray and the hill. It sounds like I'm being sarcastic, but I am not. It is super fun. Anyway, thanks for continuing to provide such a fantastic site and community for us. I've been playing LOTRO for 2.5 years and discovered your site just about a year ago, I think. So, a significant portion of my whole game experience has somehow involved your site and shows. And you've been pretty integral in my enjoyment and understanding of the game. So one more huge thank you from me, and I can't wait to see what you've got coming up next. Jenny/RA."
Yes, Sea Spray. She's a play acting spy, isn't she?
Mm-hmm.
She is.
So that's what she was referring to about the hill.
All right, and Drac, when you're ready.
Hello, the LOTRO players. It's Jenny here, or Arai Ellen Ryan from the Twitterverse. First of all, wanted to say congrats on your 100th episode. I love the show. I love all the shows. And long may LOTRO players continue. You guys are great. I did have a question, if you fancy talking about this. I'm always curious as to how people name their characters. I know when I'm creating a new one, especially if it's an elf, I spend an awful lot of time on the Cinderin dictionary websites trying to come up with the perfect name. And so I wondered if any of you guys had stories behind how you have named your characters.
All right. So I actually named mine because apparently Teethior was spelled way too weird for CSTM to pronounce. So I wanted to come up with a name that was easy to pronounce, and so I went into the LOTRO thing, and it said one of the prefaces is An, and one of the endings is Dang, so I made Andang. Real easy and simple. And oddly enough, it turned out that for some people, it's actually a really hard name to pronounce for some reason. But yeah, that's pretty much why I came up with mine, and CSTM had a lot of fun with my name on the show once
How
I
have
became
you
a
heard
writer.
it mispronounced?
That's a good question. I don't even remember, but there's been actual several people on different shows and things that mispronounced it. Um, they just don't realize that it's the second part's dang, and so they try to make it like all one word. I don't know, it's weird.
Undong. Undong.
Maybe they're speaking with a black speech accent.
Maybe Pine Leaf, but I don't think that that's the problem.
Undong.
Anybody else?
Well, I can talk about mine. Three of mine tend to be lore based. I don't have that cohesiveness, that the guys tend to have, like Carve and Andang. So I mean, I had to go with putting Maven into their last names. But Glordriel is actually named because when I was in about 7th grade, I wrote fan fiction where a protagonist that closely resembled me did a sort of Narnia kind of through the wardrobe thing and ended up in Middle Earth. And being a girl, of course, I had to pair everybody off. And the only one that wasn't paired off yet was Glorfindel, so he became my boyfriend. So Glordrel is named, in honor of that relationship. So whenever I go to Rivendell, I always go say hello to Glorfindel. Erethin is named after Erethel, who is one of my favorite characters in the Silmarillion. She was the sister of the king of Turgon, Gondolin. And she was very restless, and I identified with her. And then Tarandel, my captain, is actually named because his backstory is that he unbeknownst to him, he's related through a series of younger sons to an older king of Gondor. But then Dresden is totally lore breaking. He's named after Harry Dresden, the wizard.
Nice.
And then my hobbit's named Maisie Day, which is just Daisy May, and I just messed around with it. So anyway, I've got some other characters too, but those are probably the most prominent ones.
I tend to flip through the random name generator until I find something that I can work with. I almost never go with something straight out of the name generator, but I'll find something close. With a few exceptions, my burglar for the Detestable Us group is Marmaduke Harrytoes. That didn't come out of the name generator. That's just because I named him Marmaduke Harrytoes. And one of my other characters had Pepper, my Hobbit minstrel, it's Peppir, but it's pronounced Pepper, like the plant, because Hobbit girls are named after plants, so she's named after peppers.
All right.
And there was one server, because I actually was remaking her for the Hobbits to Isengard on the rare occasion that I could go to one of those other servers. And there was one other server where I couldn't get the name Pepper, and it was Peppermint. But yeah, I don't have a naming scheme, so I end up the only thing is that I tend to reuse the same name. So I've got I've Terry Adwin as my champion, so she's my main character who's a champion on every server. And then if I cross over the same race class combination, I will invariably reuse the same name that I've already picked once out of the generator, because 9 times out of 10 it won't be taken.
Okay.
DJ in this chat says, amusing thought, what would the random name generator give Drac if he tried it? The RNG.
Skeleton Steed.
That's right. My name would be Red Skeleton Steed. That's what the RNG would give me. The only way it would give me that would be the name.
Yeah, well, like the other ladies, I had a problem finding an unused flower name. That's why Lily got thrown together with a Lily Kate. And the Buggins is a little bit tongue-in-cheek, because it could be a dialect of Baggins, or it could just be a hobbit that goes around annoying everybody. So that made me laugh. So that's how we're Lily Kate Buggins. And then, of course, the Buggins is now a wee clan there are many of us, but I do try to keep, my name's law appropriate and sounding right. I don't like to run around with a character who's got a name that doesn't fit well. They tend to get deleted and not played really quickly. So I've got a Prudy Roper, I've got Emilot Noakes, of course these are all hobbits, infinitum hobbits, so just go on and on. But if I do roll an elf or a dwarf, I try and give them reasonable sounding names.
I used the RNG too for a while, and I was looking for something. I don't know if it's lore appropriate or not. Probably not. I was looking for something that sounded Anglo-Saxon, and I think Brax came up, just Brax, and of course that was taken because it's a short name and it sounds great. And so I think I added the WULF at first, which was also taken on Woodfola. And so, of course, as people do, I started changing vowels around and ended up with the American spelling, I guess the non-Old English spelling of wolf. And I got really lucky that one wasn't taken because that's really proliferated for me. I use it everywhere now, and it's really it's easy to remember, and it just sounds great. So that's how I came up with mine.
And of course, it makes you easily identifiable to everybody else in the community as well. I think having a regular name does help in that. And of course, if you want to go incognito, you just roll somebody who's got a completely different name.
Yeah, and what's funny is that what happens is most people shorten it to Brax anyway. So there you go.
Right.
Yes, that
I
does
can
tend to
relate to
happen.
that. Says Carvet, who gets called Carve all the time. Carvet was actually
all your alts have carve in them.
well, that was on purpose. Like, I rolled Carvet on Landerval specifically for things like Weatherstock. And then I heard when I was watching LOTRO Players News that this LOTRO Players Adventure show was going to start. So I said, ooh, I want to be a part of that. And so I started rolling more characters on Landerval, and I just stuck with Carve because I liked it. And then, so I have lots of Carves, and I have a couple Carves on other servers, which are a little bit less lore appropriate. Like, I try to keep most of the Carves sounding somewhat-ish lore appropriate, even though Carve is not necessarily a syllable that you would find in different languages. Like on Brandywine, I was a lot more tongue-in-cheek, which is why I have a champ named Carve-a-lot. And I do have a hobbit named Carving, but Ing is an appropriate hobbit name, so I just kind of let it slide. Although I think his last name is like Yulham.
Yeah.
Carving
Yulham.
Yulham. Yeah. I just actually renamed my my elven warden, who I've decided is a redneck elf, so it's not lore appropriate, but he does have a very elven sounding name. He's a Carvion Hayseed, which puts him as a member of the Overtharial elves. They're from the backwoods of Markwood, the Overtharials.
All right. Anyone else?
Well, what about you? Pine leaf.
Everyone knows my pattern by now.
No, but how did you come up with it? I think I remember you. I think you told that story once. I don't remember.
Yeah,
it
I'm sure I've told it a couple of times.
Oh, okay. Well, then let's just move on.
All right.
Well, I mean,
now people are wondering. We gotta.
I know Branning's heard at least twice.
Yeah, I could tell Pine Leaf's story and my own.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. Pine Leaf Needles. When Moria came out, Pine Leaf was looking to start a warden and needed an appropriate name and wanted something for a hobbit, so it was something plant related. And Pine Needle is shaped like a spear, so thus Pine Leaf was born. As for my own names, I don't want to really get into too much detail because I have a lot of names, but I would say I love the question because I'm someone who puts hours and hours of thought into almost every character I name, just in the name. It took probably the longest, and I talked about this recently as well, was Euphorbia, my Hobbit guardian. It took me forever to find, a plant that was not already taken. First I spent like 4 hours looking up jewel names, and those were all taken. And eventually, I found Euphorbia, went with that. The other name I'm really proud of, I don't even remember where this website is. I doubt if I could find it if I looked for it right now. But I was checking all kinds of random name generators and looking up like elven names and things for my elven lore master. And I wanted something to do because at the time it was my first lore master. I knew that at some point I would be getting an eagle, and I wanted something related to an eagle, or to someone who would have control over an eagle or something. So eventually, I found like an elven name generator where you could put in like combine a name out of a prefix and a suffix, and the prefixes and suffixes would both have meanings, and you could fit a name together based on the meanings that you wanted, basically.
Cool.
So I came up with Endelinor, which means noble eagle.
Awesome.
I think I was on that same site when I was playing around with syllables to try and figure out something clever for Carvian hayseed, which is where I kind of cobbled together something that sounded like Over the Ariel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't even think I could find the site because I tried probably 50 different sites, different generators and things. So like going back through my history won't help.
All right. Next we have Barnabas, and Barnabas writes,
Hold up,
hopefully
Pine
this...
Leaf. There's actually more to that letter.
Yeah, I actually do. I have a story behind my name.
And that too.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's cool.
Okay. I had technical issues and I'm just now getting back. But I kind of came up with my name from a amalgamation of lore and my own family history. My family, I guess, is from Ireland, some part of it. Don't exactly know where, but very proud of it. And our last name was Haert, Haert, like O'Hart. And in Lotro, the era prefix is sort of like a royal prefix thing, and I'd always like some of my family is ridiculously insane, I guess, about about genealogy, and they've traced it back through close to 1,000 years, which is ridiculous. And apparently, my great times 25 grandfathers, William the Conqueror, and a bunch of English royalty down the line until a random princess went off and got married to a duke, and then that ended. And so, like, apparently I got royal blood in me. I was like, oh, it's kind of nice to have the royal prefix in front of my old last name as a nod to my own family history for where my character's name comes from. So that's the Aerithar part. And then my creep is Lucky, Luki whatever. So Lucky Luck is my warg, which is the first one I made because I figured anything I got on it was going to be pure luck, and Lucky with a Y was taken. So that's my story, and they all kind of stuck.
All right.
Andy, you said you had something?
Well, there's actually more to that audio file, so let's go ahead and play that track.
Ooh.
Hello, the LOTRO players.
That's fine, we'll listen through again.
Oh, yep, we got messed up, so let's have to listen to it all, sorry.
Hello, the LOTRO players. It's Jenny here, or Arai Ryan from the Twitterverse. First of all, wanted to say congrats on your 100th episode. I love the show. I love all the shows. And long may LOTRO players continue. You guys are great. I did have a question, if you fancy talking about this. I'm always curious as to how people name their characters. I know when I'm creating a new one, especially if it's an elf, I spend an awful lot of time on the Sindarin dictionary websites trying to come up with the perfect name. And so I wondered if any of you guys had stories behind how you have named your characters.
We do.
My favourite moments from the shows, if we're talking about any of the shows, I think the breaking of Ethelros has to be top, of course. Other standout moments would include Ethelros rezzing people in the fire in one of the Dol Guldur instances. And I think it was in the same instance, actually, Spider's hobbit shriek as she encountered some baddie or other and came running back round the corner. That was beautiful. One thing I wanted to say was thanks for letting my little hobbit sea spray be part of your mega secret, not so secret anymore project. She had a great time running up and down that hill. And the last thing, I suppose, would be to say congrats again. I'm hoping for many more years of this game and of your site. I really do appreciate all of you and all of the work that you put in on behalf of the players and the fans. So thanks. Lots of love from Arai.
Awesome.
Yay. Thank you,
Thanks.
Arai. Now can I go into Barnabas?
You can, Pineleaf.
Well, yes.
Hopefully this won't make you cringe. Barnabas.
Hello, LOTRO players. This is avid listener Barnabas. Thanks for reading all my silly origin stories. I had lots of fun writing them. I started listening to LPN about the 50th episode and have since gone back and listened to every LPN podcast. Here are some of my favorite moments from the show. In episode 15, Etheros has the craziest, most diabolical laugh. It seems he bid on being a guest host on the LPN Fellowship Walk. Another was when the gang tried to explain what a ho-ho was to Lilligate. And of course, there was the infamous 18-minute bloopers, which launched 1,000 origin stories, and where we learned that Pineleaf has intensive therapy after each show. These are but a few of the great moments on the show. You've had 100 fantastic episodes, and the next 100 are going to be even better. One more thing. I've had a show idea you might like. You should add a fake game-related sponsor to each episode. This episode of LOTRO Players News is brought to you by Lalia's Market. Visit Lalia's Market for all your cosmetic needs. Conveniently located in beautiful downtown Bree, across from the Boar's Fountain. Say, I saved your life, you dim-witted hobbit, to receive an extra 20% off your purchase. That's Lalia's Market. And one more thing. Heart Etheros.
That's a great idea, but that's been done.
Yes, it has. Light the Beacons. That is
Yeah,
the
Light the
podcast you
Beacons
should
does
listen
that.
to
Have
for that.
wonderful ads.
But just the I whole saved your life, you dim-witted hobbit.
Yeah, that was.
So,
You know, I've never
That's
listened
just
to
the
Like
best.
the Beacons, but I had that same idea independent, so that's fantastic.
Well, if people send them in, we'll feature them, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I can see
Can
them
see it
pouring in
now.
already.
We could even do role-playing commercials.
This episode of LOTRO Players Podcast was brought to you by Holly Hornblower's Pies.
This
better, yeah, we
episode
do
of
a-
LOTRO Players
She's gonna be
News.
making pyres now, huh?
Brought to you by Kaleo
Well,
Wine.
if you eat one of the spoiled pies, there's going to be a pyre.
Yeah, I was thinking of using the spoiled pies as a pyre.
Throw it into the fire!
We could even do it scripted, like Otho Bugbottom is not happy with his pie. What's wrong with your pie, dear? I don't know, but you need to talk to Holly Hornblower about this. We could do scripted commercials. It'd be awesome.
There we go.
Finally.
The thing to replace the origin stories. Scripted
I'm
commercials.
kind of glad this is my last episode.
Production, no!
Hey, Pineleaf, don't let me forget. From now on, every episode of LOTRO Academy will be brought to you by Bull Roar's Brew.
There you go.
I should have known. Let's head on to Bragg. Bragg writes, hope this is taken in the right spirit. Anyone who finds it amusing may be interested in my April Fool's episode from this year's Douse the Beacons. Cheers, Bragg of Villia.
Listen up, LOTRO player miscreants. Grimer Wormtongue here, the real brains behind the Light the Beacons podcast. Or should I say the only brains. It has come to my attention that you are celebrating your 100th podcast. Really? This is a cause for celebration? 100 episodes of useless drivel littering the sewers of the internet. Listen, I took 100 bowel movements over the course of the past year, but you don't see me inviting guests over to brag about it. Speaking of brag, I understand that my misbegotten master was invited to be a guest host for this episode, and I was not. You might as well be asking a lowly shield maiden to kill the Witch King. The very idea. Well, you will regret omitting me, I can assure you. When I rule Middle-earth, you will rue the day you snubbed the Grimer. All Grimer snubbers will feel my wrath. Oh, look, the chat window is telling me to say something nice. Very well. You have all been doing an adequate job of making me want to gnaw off my earlobes on a weekly basis. But I better go before I am summarily cut off by one of those ill-timed pine leaf segues. Moving on. I hope you all move on to a leper colony to spare us from another 100 episodes. Sincerely, your bestest buddy, Grimer Wormtongue.
Oh, hoorah.
Wow, that turned into a roast. Wow.
That's good.
Yeah, and Bragg was gonna make it on this episode, but something came up. But we'll have to have him on later on. But that was awesome, Bragg.
Fantastic.
That was amazing.
And I hear rumor that Ending wrote an origin story.
I did, Pineleaf, and man, it's gonna be tough to make it through this after that. That was hilarious. So first of all, I'd like to thank Terry Adwin, Barnabas, and Sithrith, all for helping me write the ending of this. My goal was to make an origin story with everyone in it, and that actually happened, so hopefully this will be good. So here we go. One day, deep in a local cloning factory, a young male vampire named Draculetta worked on the Felicia Day cloning line.
Yes! You can stop right there. Yeah.
His job was to inspect the clones to make sure they lined up with pictures he took of Felicia Day outside the factory. Over time, a strange thing began to happen to the clones. They began to have a general con of falling down all the time. To keep them from being hurt, Drac had to catch the clones before they fell. After this happened 10 times, Drac was going to report the general con. But he enjoyed the clones falling into his arms too much, so he didn't report it. The next 2 times, though, Drac didn't catch them in time, and so he knew he would have to report it before it became a bigger issue. Drac told the whole Gen Con story to his supervisors, Sithrith and Athalros, who only rolled their eyes and sighed at him. Drac continued to remind his supervisors of the Felicia Day problem each week, but they only rolled their eyes and sighed more and more.
So accurate.
Actually, it is. Yes, very much so.
Meanwhile, in another part of the factory, Athalros began work on his shirtless warden clone. He would name after his boss, Pineleaf. Athalros thought this idea was hilarious, and he couldn't talk for days due to all the laughing. He laughed so much that his jaw started to hurt. To avoid being mute for the rest of his life, Athalros immediately stopped laughing and got to work. Since Athalros loved dolphins so much, he included a complimentary dolphin with each Pineleaf clone order, even though it had no porpoise. Quickly after the Pineleaf clone went on sale, it became clear that the Pineleaf clone was in direct competition with the Felicia Day clone market. While analysts to this day still don't understand this market overlap, it became clear that a spicy battle was about to unfold. Draculetta instantly became interested in following the sales figures to know if his clone was winning. The sales reports were neck and neck, and so Drac began to run sales projections through a random number generator. The sales outlook from the RNG was so bad that he set the RNG on fire and began to look for another job. So apparently the RNG was bad enough for Drac to completely leave his job at the Felicia Day clone factory. Anyway, Drac decided to ask his Australian friend, whose name remains a mystery, for help. And she said she needed a security guard for a walk she had planned. Drac agreed to the job, and so he protected his friend as they walked to the local docks. When they arrived at the docks, the Australian friend began to tear through the crates, trying to find a shipment of coffee. While they were frantically searching for the coffee, the Australian began to tell Drac about the cool job she had at LOTRO Players. Drac wasn't sure about the job, But the mysterious Australian knew how badly Drac needed it, and so she dragged him along for several miles to LOTRO Players' headquarters. Drac was shocked when he got there to see pictures of Pineleaf and Ethelros on the employee picture wall. Ethelros had already won the award for most monotone, and Pineleaf had won the award for best laugh. Drac quickly looked at his pocket calendar and realized he had been on that walk for over a month with the Australian. Stressed about the lost time, Drac began to count the images on the wall to relax. 1, 2, 3. Before he could get to 4, he was cut off by Pineleaf, who had been sitting at the secretary desk the whole time. Pineleaf said, "No, Drac, you aren't supposed to count down, and your numbers are all wrong. It's 5 minutes until the show starts, not 1, 2, or 3. Drac was not sure about the show, but the Australian dragged him into the recording room, and with a detestable face, told him to sit in a coffin chair that was in the corner. Drac found the chair surprisingly Draculetic in nature, and gave it his stamp of approval. Drac found out there were a few other people on the show. A Twinkieless Italian pizza pie maker named Lillacate, a table mover named Braxwolf, and a person called Andang, who had a creepy background. When Drax started to listen to the conversation, he found out that Brax needed to move a solid Braxwood table. He knew how heavy Braxwood could be, so he offered his pickup truck, but Brax didn't respond and even missed the next show. Later, Drac found out Brax was highly offended by Drac asking, since Brax had a whole fleet of his own pickup trucks specifically designed to carry tables. About 33 weeks of podcasting, Drac remembered his former eye-rolling supervisor, Sithrith. Drac invited her on the show, and she quickly agreed. It turns out Sithrith had wanted to get out of her job for some time, after an industrial drum of steel blue dye accidentally made its way out of her hands and into the Felicia Day skin pigmentation tank. She had only agreed to be on the show due to guilt of ruining Drac's clones. After another 33 weeks, a talkative trailer owner wanted to be on the show. Somehow she had found out about Sithrith's secret and threatened to talk unless Sithrith moved on to another show. Sithrith quickly agreed and talked Drac and Ethelros into leaving the show as well. They went off to do a spin-off show about necromancers and PvP. The talkative trailer owner felt bad about causing 3 hosts to leave the show, and so she did the only thing she could think of: go to therapy. She tried several therapists, but they all eventually turned away since she could only express her problems through abstract Hobbit film predictions. Eventually, she found a professor of Tolkien who was willing to talk for hours on end with her about these predictions. This seemed to help, and so she decided to try to make up for her mistake by getting more people on the LOTRO Players News podcast. She went to her best friend, a world-famous chicken restaurant owner named Erithert. His restaurants were famous for the kids' meal lunches that came with streamers for kids to run around with. The meals also came with a plastic horn modeled after an iceberg called the Hornberg. Erithert started to notice a weird phenomenon, where the kids started to put their chicken into the Hornberg. Erithert knew that if he didn't make a public statement soon, he would have tons of parents angry at him for encouraging kids to play with their food. So Erithert made the statement that nothing went into anything. Oddly enough, after he made that statement, parents stopped taking their kids to his restaurants. The talkative trailer owner also asked the local parody artists Carvette and Terry Adwin to join the show. Since they were finishing up their Frozen Balrog music video, they agreed to do the show until their next project came around. The next big event for the group was the 100th episode, where they all got back together. Since it was such a momentous occasion, Pineleaf suggested they all do a skirmish. The group immediately let out a big Ethelros sigh. Everybody? Preferring even Elrond over another skirmish, the group made their way to his library, leaving Pineleaf behind. What? Elrond decided to let the group sail to the west, far away from Pineleaf, but they would have to provide their own ride. They all thought about their situation, but no such solution presented itself. I have it, the talkative trailer owner cried. I have been farming a lot, and have developed some amazing plants. She quickly rushed to her garden and imbued her bee plants. They quickly grew to an epic size, and the group was able to craft a legendary boat out of them. The group got in the boat of peas, and sailed off to the west, never to be seen again. And that's the end.
Good old boat of peas.
That sounds more like a big origin to ending story more than just a straight origin story.
I'm sorry, but I must have missed it. Was I in there somewhere?
You're the talkative trailer owner.
Oh, okay. I guess I missed it, Maven. I was listening for Maven, and
Trailer
I couldn't.
Trish.
I guess
Didn't
I
actually name you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Terry thought that that would be a good idea, but apparently not, so thanks, Terry.
Yeah.
Hashtag blame
Okay.
Terry. Actually, I have to add that to one of my remembrances, moments, memories, favorite things of that whole episode. Or I think we broke everyone between me and Carve.
Probably.
It was a good day.
That was the episode where we started with me losing my mind.
If you want to know what the Gen Con story is that was alluded to in the beginning of that, listen to Guild Wars Players News episode number 12.
Yep.
And you can hear the world famous Guild Gen Con Felicia Day story.
And that's also why you were going to tell it on the 10th one, but then decided you loved her falling the arms so much that you'd save it for 2 more episodes.
That's right. Oh, that was great, though.
Thank you, everyone who sent us in emails. And if you would like to send us one, you could send it to podcast@lotroplayers.com. You could also follow us at Twitter. The Players Alliance @Players Ally, Lotro Players @LotroPlayers, Andang @PVMP_Andang, Erithert @Erithert, Braxwolf @Braxwolf, Carvet @CarvetLP, Lily Kate @LilyKateBuggins, Maven @Tolkien Maven, Pineleaf @Pineleaf Needles, and Terry Adwin @Terry Adwin. And you can also follow us our old hosts, Sithrith @Sithrith, Etheros @Etheros, and Draculetta @Draculetta_72. You could also follow our guests, Brannick @BD Marvel, the Tolkien Professor @Tolkien Prof, and Estolali @DG
DGen X Alley.
DGen X Alley, Iogro
That's two.
Iogro Mary Belly, DJ Pimp Daddy
Good luck.
Yeah, you can't follow him, but you can try.
right? Very well. And Bragg @Bragg's Son of Balin, or at lightthebeacons.com. And Sunny Black @SunnyBlackXOX. The Players Alliance has 3 live shows every single week. On Mondays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have DDO Players News. On Thursdays at 6:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have Guild Wars Players News. And on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have LOTRO Players News. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thanks to all our guests for coming tonight. Thanks for all our former hosts for returning for this special occasion. And remember, this is Pineleaf Needles saying to skirmish responsibly.